Hey, this is Russell, and I work at the video store, the place that we can go to every week when it's movie night. On days like today, when the store is quiet, I get to chat to my friends about the films and the series that we're loving. All right, let's do it. Let's open up the shop.
Did you see that thing yesterday on the TV? It was ready, interesting!
How's it?
Good morning.
Hello. Hey.
Compliments of the season.
Yeah.
And a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
Happy
everyone. Welcome to the video store. Thank you for wandering in. We took ourselves a little break, but we've since opened up the door, and this is our first day back. And I've missed you listening, that you person, but I've missed you guys.
Yes.
Let the record show that Russ was making direct eye contact with me, Perrin first.
Yeah.
And he said, I missed you, the listener.
I missed all of you guys, honestly, and we're going to get into it, but this is really the joy of the video store. For me personally, is hanging out with my chums and talking about the movies and the series that we love. We've got ourselves a G-Force here today.
Good morning.
Who's very much the producer, and you're an editor in your own right. We've got ourselves a Perrin here today.
Hello.
Who is a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But you make, you write, you edit.
Yeah.
We've got ourselves a Cole Matthews today.
Hello.
And you are currently calling yourself?
Digital copywriter.
Digital copywriter.
My moonlight as an amateur musician.
Oh, you're very much a professional
He's
musician.
bloody
Thank
good.
you.
You get paid.
I fished for that compliment.
And my name is Russell. I am the owner of The Bioscope, which is an independent cinema here in Johannesburg. And today is a very special episode. This is our most rented.
Yeah.
This is now the third time we're doing it.
Damn.
Okay, so
We're getting old.
We are getting on a bit, but this is really cool. This is our kind of recap of the 2024 year. We are going to do it very loosey-goosey in the sense that we're going to go around a circle, and each one of us are going to give our pick of our favorite film or TV or in some perhaps video game of the year. And what we will do as well is save our very best for the very end. And then we'll do our sort of close to number one pick of this. This is lots of fun, and I can't wait to get into it. But just a special mention and a special thank you to everyone who listened in 2024. It was lovely having you with us. It was a fantastic year. It was a year that we won some awards, which was really special. It was cool to see the South African Podcast Guild come into its own as a guild and be very supportive and be a very cool place for podcasts and podcasters to talk. And they pulled off a very successful South African Podcast Award, which took place in November, and we were very chuffed to get 2 golds and 2 silvers, which was very cool.
That's cool.
Wasn't this the first year you got your DCP as well?
Then personally with the
yes.
Bioscope, this was a very special year. This was our best year,
Nice.
literally in the history of the Bioscope. It was incredible. We upgraded at the start of last year.
Yeah.
At the start of 2024, we upgraded, and it just opened up more. It basically what we did is paid for this very expensive equipment, which makes us a real cinema. People always wandered in and said, "Are you a real cinema?" And I always wondered what the answer to that was. And I was like, "What do you define as a real cinema?"
Yeah.
But I think now that we can do these kind of bigger studio releases, not necessarily the commercial stuff, it's our pick.
Yes.
There's a lot of films that get a little bit lost, and we can do them in fun and cool ways. But speaking of that, we are going into the most exciting, very fucking cool season here at the Bioscope, and it was announced just a few days ago that Nosferatu is finally fucking coming to South Africa. Because
Nerdy woos.
Because-
everyone.
if
virgins.
if you listen every week, you would have remembered months and months and months ago. I said I went to the UIP junket.
Yes.
Do you remember that? And I got shown a little bit of Gladiator 2 before everyone. I saw that there was the Michael Jackson film coming. I saw a snippet from the How to Train Your Dragon live action. And I saw...
How to drain your dragon.
Oh
Sorry.
my God. Jesus.
That's what I heard.
We're grown men, Perrin.
Right.
And in that list,
Sus.
I saw that this particular distributor had Nosferatu on its list.
Yes.
So ever since then, I was talking about it, but for a whole bunch of reasons, and we certainly don't have to get into it, they weren't willing to bring it. But while I was away now in December, I swear, and I even put this in the email, I'm like, I'm not being dramatic, but we got lots and lots of emails and messages about people going, why aren't you showing it? Or would you consider showing it? I'm like,
Yes.
of course I would fucking consider showing it. It's like, this would be an amazing movie to show. And then they finally came around. And I took great joy in emailing all those people back going, here are the tickets.
Yeah.
Here's the links. Buy your tickets now. So tickets are on sale. It starts on the 17th of Jan here in Joburg. Nosferatu. It's great. But Complete Unknown, Honora,
Better Man.
Better Man, A Real Pain. Like, it's fucking like we are
That
in
is awesome, dude.
the season.
Cinema is back, baby.
So yeah, it's very exciting coming up. And of course, we are going to keep doing the video store. We love it. It's a
Yep.
great way for us to hang out. It's a great way for us to just talk about what we love. And so I'm sure this year is going to be a great year.
Yep.
All right. So I think let's waste no time. And I think we should start with you, G-Force.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get another voice. I've spoken a bit too much.
And Graham's also probably prepared the most next to Perrin. I haven't prepared at all.
All I have is my letterbox list.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
Which is
I
I'm
basically
close
still
enough to
not
be
on
prepared.
Letterboxd. What
You're
the
not
fuck
on
is wrong with
Letterboxd?
that?
This is a problem, Perrin.
No, do you know why?
Sort yourself
Because
out.
I started on IMDb, fucking gross, ill, and then and like I just
What is this, 2004?
but like literally like so I've got too many ratings. I'm like fuck, it's just I've got to fucking port it over to Letterboxd, and you told me once you're gonna have to take the day off to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because oh god,
Do it.
But I basically just went back to my diary on Letterboxd and just basically looked at the ones I gave the highest rating to.
Cool.
That's really the way I do
yeah,
it.
fair enough.
I know, Perrin, you're very meticulous, and when it comes to your turn,
Yeah.
we can talk a little bit about your process. But this is why you have a job here.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
why we hired you at the video store. All right, G-Force,
All right,
let's start with you.
My first pick is going to be I'm cheating a little bit because it's a 2023 movie, but we got it in 2024.
Okay, I think
And I
that
did the
counts.
same thing last year
Yeah.
with Fablemans, and the podcast police have done nothing about it, so they can't fucking touch me. But it's The Boy and the Heron.
Oh,
gotta
no,
pick
that
The Boy and the
counts.
Heron.
That counts in 2024 for me. As
Yeah,
well,
I'm
'cause-
counting as 24.
Yeah,
Yeah.
20%.
We got it in theaters here in 2024. It won an Oscar in 2024, whatever.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But yeah, we've spoken about it quite a few times.
I can say at this point that was unquestionably the most successful film we released at the Bioscope in
Called it.
2024.
yeah. It's wild to me that they didn't fucking consider bringing it here at all, and then that happens. It's the most accessible anime studio in the world, the most popular, the most. It's
Sure.
the Disney of Japan, basically.
No, of course,
Like-
Studio Ghibli.
Yes.
But a lot of the content was signed to Netflix.
Yeah.
And so it was always destined to go to Netflix.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
distributors in South Africa were actually quite reluctant to get it because they could only get the cinema window.
Right.
They couldn't get the VOD and the TV rights and those kinds of
100%,
things. So
yeah.
that was why people didn't touch it until one did. And then I got a similar email which was like, hey, would you consider showing this? And I was like, of course I would fucking consider showing this. I think my email back to them was yes, 1,000 times yes.
Nice.
Of course, yeah.
And then I started preparing this is very similar to what I did with Nosferatu a few days ago. Started preparing all the ticket links, everything on the website, because I'm quick. It's just me. I don't have to, there's no big team and
Yeah.
there's no hordes of people. So that all you got to do is just get ahead of the curve,
Yeah, book
be
early. Yeah.
shouting before anyone else, and then hopefully you get more.
Nice.
So why?
But yeah, talk about it.
Talk about
It's just, what I find interesting is Hayao Miyazaki is someone who seems to almost resent the fact that people think of his movies as like whimsical and magical, and like he doesn't like that. He's like mad, and it's like no, because to him, I think his films are their themes.
Right.
Like that's the thing that
Yeah.
he's expressing through his movies. So in this case, what he did is he like stripped away all the accessibility of his other films, and it's just speaking in metaphor like the whole time. So it's kind of, it makes it a difficult film. Like,
It's
you're
a
not
very
going to get it.
difficult film,
You're not going to get
It's
it the first
tough.
time you watch it. You might struggle to connect with it the first time you see it.
Yeah.
But like then you watch it again, and you'll get a little bit more out of it, and then you'll watch it again, and you'll get a little bit more out of it.
what
you
I'm
know?
going through as well.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
it's
just like a process, like going through that movie. And that's what I enjoy. That, like I've said this before, like I love a big swing.
Yeah.
And that to me is like a big swing.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
making a movie for no one.
And it was so cool. Like
Yeah,
after
totally.
that film,
Yeah.
the discussion you and I had were like, it's about this. And you're like, no, it's
Yes.
about this.
Yeah,
And that's amazing because
Yeah.
you can feel so certain that you know what it's about.
exactly.
The great thing about that movie, I mean, like you said, so I do a lot of rewatching of all the highlights of the year, or even the lowlights where I'm like, maybe I missed something, let me watch it
Right.
again. And I've watched The Boy and the Heron. First time I watched it, I was like, it suffers from a lot of Miyazaki-isms that I'm not a fan of. Like where it just feels like everything, he's like, oh, by the way, this. You know what I mean? But then I watched it again, I'm like, actually, all right, I'm getting somewhere. And then I watched the thing that turned the tide for me was the documentary. I think it's on Netflix right
It is
now.
on it. It is on Netflix.
Yeah,
now,
it's called Hayo, and
A life and something.
it's
yeah.
it's
I
him
think it's called
making
Miyazaki and the Heron. isn't
yeah.
it?
It's,
Oh, that
it's
one.
the process of how you
Of
got
making
to
the Heron.
the point to make
Cool.
that. And the great thing about that documentary is it. I mean, look, a lot of films, especially Miyazaki, you want to go, you want to interpret it your own way as much as possible. That movie allowed me to like actually see between the lines, be like, holy shit, this is actually what it's about, you know. And the whole movie pertains to how all his friends are dying now, and
Yeah.
like the movie is about how like inheriting a big task that is bestowed upon you, and it's such, I think it's his most allegorical, most metaphorical,
definitely.
most layered film. It's definitely his most dense, complex movie.
And it's now on Netflix,
It
eh?
is on Netflix. Yeah.
Great movie. Good,
Okay.
good pick, man.
Yeah, nice. Off to a good start.
Cool.
Let's get over to P-Dog.
Okay, I've got a lot. All right, so you wanted to know my process.
Yeah, well, just you are a person of lists.
It's
Yeah.
so wanky.
You're quite meticulous.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so every year I normally do my list at around, because I do write-ups on each individual film, and it takes me fucking ever. I do it to myself.
I say,
yeah.
and this is very much for you.
Yeah, I do it. I
It's for your
post it on
own-
like my blog and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
But
Send me a
What is
link
your-
to that so I can put it in the description.
Yeah, what is your blog?
poorlywrittenmusings.com.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So basically, what I do is by around end of Feb, early March, that's when I release my list, because all the eligible titles have come out. I've watched them, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like Boy and the Heron, it was too late. I was like, fuck it, they'll be 2024, right? So it's definitely going to be there. I used to do a top 100. That was
Jeez,
torture. So I eventually just did top 50
I
because
just
it was
love
just
how
painful to do.
I love how you give yourself this pain.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's one thing if you're an editor of a magazine
Yeah.
and it's like they task this on you. It's
Yeah.
like this is entirely your own.
I'm
doing.
not even paying myself, you
Yeah.
know? So like
If
like-
anything, it's taking away from paying jobs.
yeah, like I always complain about it to Kira, and she's like, why are you rushing? It's like not for anyone else but you. I'm like, okay, good point. But anyways, so I do that, and I meticulously go over it. I literally number it, and I go, cool, did I like this more than this? No, I didn't. It stays where it is. Did I like this more than this? Okay, it goes above it. You know what I mean?
All right.
So it eventually comes to that, but it's going to change a lot by the time we get there. But these are the most notable ones that I fucking adored. They're probably going to be in the top 25 at least.
Okay.
Ones I haven't really spoken about on the podcast before that I'd like to highlight.
Cool.
So
Okay, your pick.
my first pick. Let's go with Red Rooms.
Okay.
So it's a Canadian-French film.
Okay, I know nothing about it.
It's a horror movie. It's I'd say it's a courtroom thriller / horror movie. So it's a Canadian French film, and it's about there's a murder trial going on for a guy who allegedly brutally murdered these 2 teenage girls, right? And it follows a woman who's obsessed with this case. So she's going to the courtroom and stuff, but she meets someone who believes that he didn't do it. But she's like an obsessive, weird fangirl, right? So the whole movie is about our obsession with serial killers,
Yeah.
like we do with the Ted Bundys, with the Jeffrey Dahmers.
Sure, and
This-
even now this last year with those two Mendes brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's always the correlation, and I'm sorry if I'm being a total dude here, but the correlation is usually these very impressionable young women who are like obsessed with these people because they are hot, or they have like a look in their eyes that they trust, or whatever, like.
Yeah, sure.
So this movie is without a doubt the most disturbing film I watched last year. It fucking rattled me. I still haven't. There's two films I haven't been able to shake off. It's this and I Saw the TV Glow. Those are the two that I can't stop thinking about for the year, for various different reasons. I Saw the TV Glow for one reason. Cole's going to go into that at one point. But yeah, like Red Rooms is outstanding, fucking incredible film.
And I think you've touched on something which we've spoken about throughout the history of the video store, which is what makes a good film.
Yeah.
And really, and this is a shout out to Leon van Nierop, who's a good friend and has visited the video store many times.
Yeah.
That's his thing. This is after decades of film reviewing. His whole thing is, does the film stay with you?
Yeah.
The worst thing that can ever happen is you forget you watched a movie.
Yeah.
And you
Yes.
forget about the movie and it just leaves you cold. No matter how cool or good it maybe seems at the time. If it washes over you and leaves you cold.
Especially, when I go, because instead of logging on Letterboxd, I just log on my notes on my phone. And I can lose that.
Doesn't count, bro.
I can't wait for you to join Letterboxd because
but-
you've got your notes. You
Yeah.
can do it. You can, that'll take you half a day.
Yeah, so like it's funny. I'll scroll through movies and I'm like, okay, what did I watch? And I'm like, what the fuck movie is this? And then I'll Google it. I'm like, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
and
no,
like,
it's a good
disqualified.
sign that it's pretty shit.
Yeah.
I was going to say
okay.
that I saw a video of a study that measured people's variable heart rates while watching certain films and came up with the 10 scariest films ever based on how they physiologically
yes,
make you
yeah.
react. And Red Rooms was in the top 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's-
Number 1 was Sinister.
I don't even know that. What is that?
It's jump scares.
It's fucking great.
So
jump
like
scares.
with Red Rooms, like there's no jump scares. It's just fucking like
No, is it one of those
unsettling.
like dread movies?
It's disturbing. Like
no,
the
I'm not
lead in
watching
that
it.
is just unbelievable. And there's it's so good.
How do you get it put on your iPad?
So yeah, probably. But I have the Blu-ray from Utopia that just came out. I got the limited edition slip cover from Vinegar Syndrome.
Is
I
it
do,
Steelbook?
actually. Yeah, no, it's not Steelbook. Fuck Steelbooks.
Why?
No, they're just like tacky and bullshit.
I thought they looked pretty sick, bro.
No, it depends. But
This
that's
is like a
neither here
different
nor
level
there.
of nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when you're a collector, but there's a specific kind of collectible that you hate.
It's acceptable.
No, there's a weird like people spend like $30 on slipcovers that don't come with like Blu-rays.
You're
anymore.
the only person I know who
fucking
still
ridiculous.
buys physical film media.
Yeah.
I would,
I'm
but you
getting
just-
back into that.
You just can't get them here.
Yeah, it's
So
importing
annoying, you have
costs.
to import them, yeah.
It's the life I lead.
It's lovely.
It's,
No,
fine, it's crippled me.
I treasure it. I treasure it.
Yeah.
All right, Kolsky.
My pick number 1 is Shōgun. Hey, that rhymed.
Okay, so
yeah.
we're moving on. Well, not moving on, but we're going to go between film and television.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. So this was, you guys know I'm a slut for period dramas.
Yeah.
And if it's an epic period drama, and then it's got samurai in it, and Hiroyuki Sanada, that actor,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, it's a recipe for something that's just going to be fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And it is from start to finish. Like, it's great in all the ways shows like Game of Thrones are engaging because it's like a well-written network of relationships
100%. Yeah.
in like a very specific historical context that we don't get anymore. And I thought that it deals with like, it's not afraid to kill its characters, for example.
I love that.
Same
yeah.
as Game
Exactly.
of Thrones.
Yeah. Which makes it more engaging and makes the consequences of whatever kind of political strife feel real. And yeah, it's incredible. I mean, how many Emmys did it win? It won like
It's
a fuck
like
ton.
record, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like for a very, very good reason.
Have you read the book?
No.
Yeah, I've got it on my bookshelf, but it's so long.
Yeah, exactly.
Shogun is on Disney Plus.
Yeah. It's a Disney Plus distributed show.
And it's pretty much all Japanese actors
Yeah.
and makers.
Yeah, except for the Gaijin, who's
He's Irish. No.
he's the Irish guy trying to go. No, well, he's a Protestant trying to go around the world murdering Catholics.
Yeah, but I meant the actor. Is
That's like his
Irish.
goal. That's why he lands up in Japan. He's like, I'm here to take out the colonizers. This guy's a badass. It's
Yeah.
hectic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Very, very cool,
Good
guys.
pick,
I
man.
recommend it so
Yeah,
much.
really good pick.
All right. My one is Challenges.
Oh fuck
Ooh.
yes, that's on my. That was on my potential for speaking about it.
I loved
yes.
everything about it.
Oh,
And funny enough, and just to ground it in us, like us 4, us 5 or 6, however many, are in our video store team, and I also want to just mention the fact that I've really loved our life as podcasters and what it's brought us, because we go and watch these movies ahead of time.
Yeah.
We're on the lists of all the distributors and we get to go see them, and Challenges was actually one of the first ones we watched with Perrin
yeah.
once he joined the team. And what I loved the most was really enjoying it, having a very individual experience as myself, and at the end of the movie having Perrin, who was like 2 or 3 people to my
Yeah.
left, scuttle over like in the dark during the credits and go, how fucking awesome was that? And I was like, this is it. This is what
This
I
is the
love.
vibe.
Yeah.
This is what I love, and this is why, just a special mention to Perrin, this is why you're on the team, is because there's like this genuine love
Yeah.
and care for cinema. But yeah, as a film, I was just with it all the way. I loved its also, yeah, some big swings in terms of like this bold rave music.
Yeah.
Tennis ball camera.
Trent Reznor score.
The camera at one point literally being the tennis ball, but it was sexy without being vulgar.
Yeah, there's not
Um,
one sex scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean there are what would
Some
you
would
would
say that's a bad
consider,
thing.
but
Yeah.
you would consider
So,
some of those
cock block
moments.
The movie.
Yeah.
You would consider some of
Cock
those
tease the
moments
movie.
sex scenes.
Yeah.
There were sort of some moments of it, but it still remained sexy. I just loved it. I thought it was great.
I think it's really easy for that sort of like almost melodramatic character drama to become very self-serious, but like it manages to like stay fun.
Yeah.
It's such a fun
always
movie.
like-
Exactly,
Yes.
because the cool thing, sorry, Perrin, I
No,
see
go
your
for
hands up, and it was like, fuck you.
No, go for it. I love it.
The cool thing is that without the tennis,
Yeah.
you just have the melodrama.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But they can play out the conflict in the tennis matches, which
Exactly.
makes it so
100%.
much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that line. So I rewatched it, no jokes, like 4 days ago because I'm doing my rewatches.
I watched it yesterday.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a blast.
and I mean, there's that line where she goes, where he goes, "Are we talking about tennis?" And she's like, "We're always talking about tennis."
Yeah.
And that's essentially what the whole movie is every conversation is both about them and tennis. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, I love the random moments, or it feels like random moments whenever the music kicks in and it's actually kind of too loud.
Yeah.
Where they're like
Yes.
almost talking underneath it.
Yeah.
Those are the moments where the conflict is back in play. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like I just loved the ending as well. I think it's such a great moment where it just resolves everything. It leaves enough up in the air as well. And that last thing where she just goes, yeah, that was fucking awesome. That's how I felt. Yeah.
Do we give awards in these? We should.
We can give
because
awards.
Best
I'm
editing.
going to nominate.
Editing,
No.
fucking amazing.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm going to nominate challenges for best jump scare. Of
Oh,
the
when
year.
the ball comes like straight at the camera.
No.
Oh, geez, yeah. I was also like, ugh.
It was when her leg breaks for me.
Oh, dude,
yes.
no, that was like,
biggest jump
Brutal.
scare was Civil War.
Oh,
There was
yes.
a moment where they were chatting like in the evening, and then suddenly loud as shit gunfire
Yeah.
the
Yes.
next moment. I remember.
it's when
I
they
was like, "Good."
they cut to the
Yeah.
conflict the next day.
Yeah.
I was watching that here with Russell. We screened it and just the two of us were watching. You literally jumped out of your chair. you were like this high above your chair when
I
that
think the
happened.
trauma has erased it from my brain. I don't quite remember that moment.
Yeah, no, it's brutal.
I just like this is a very good summation of this film. There's a review on Letterboxd. It just says everything is sex except sex, which is tennis.
But that's, I mean, look at Luca Guadagnino. Hey, what a year he's had. He's got that and Queer,
Yes.
which I'm fucking waiting for that. I'm
Yeah,
pining
absolutely.
for that.
Yeah.
And there's another one now.
Yeah, he's working on fucking American Psycho, which I'm very excited about.
But there was another
Austin
film that
Butler.
he released this year. It was Queer and something else.
Challenges.
Not Challenge. There's something else.
No, it's just those two.
Yeah, don't debate Perrin, bro.
I might be wrong. Fuck.
No, I think you are. We'll
check.
come back to you.
Okay, I'm cheating again because I'm going to do 2.
Okay.
But they're like thematically connected. And I'm also trying to pick ones that I don't think you guys are going to pick. Because I know you guys don't whisper into the mics.
Sorry.
Fucking makes no
I'm not cutting that out.
We're predicting what Graham's going to say. We're like, he's going to say this.
Okay, so I'm going to pick 2 that are like tangentially, or that are thematically connected. One of them is a Netflix movie called Rebel Ridge.
Oh, that was good.
It's really good.
It's on my watch list.
It is
Yeah.
very good.
I really liked
and
it as well.
One of the big reasons it's so good is the lead actor, Aaron Pierre, is incredible, dude.
Yeah.
He is so good.
Isn't he the voice of
He's
Lion King?
Mufasa in the line. He's the young Mufasa. But this is a movie about small town, southern states America. Dude gets essentially harassed by the cops. Gets money that he's taking to bail his cousin out.
Yeah.
Is confiscated by the police.
I know.
Essentially stolen.
Graham did air quotes.
I did air
okay,
quotes
yeah.
just to be clear. And then this guy now is trying to get the money back so he can get his cousin out, because his cousin is in jail, but he was also a witness in a murder trial, and so if he goes to prison, he's going to be killed by like the people that.
Hectic.
Yeah. So now he has to try and get it back from these shitty racist small town America cops.
Yeah, and there's good
And
twists
it's
in it.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
like
well made.
It's like a fuck the police movie.
Yeah.
Cool.
Something that I saw in a nice review about it was the mention of the fact that there's almost no deaths.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy amount
Yeah.
of action sequences like a John Wick, but instead of this kind of senseless violence of
Yes.
everyone dying, he actually does the opposite. He like disarms everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a
Opposed to shoot 'em up.
there's a cool twist as to why he's like that.
Yeah, exactly. There's
Now-
a great scene involving Wi-Fi.
Yeah. No,
That's so freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what I like
It's-
about it is it was labeled as like a gung ho action movie, but
Yes.
it is not. at
There's
all.
like 2 action scenes in the whole
it's
movie.
like a tense thriller.
Yeah.
Like it's a standoff thriller. It's
Yes.
fucking great.
It's
Good
super,
pick,
super
yeah.
well made.
He's got
It's a lot of fun as well, dude.
No,
Holy
he really
moly.
does. He, you must watch Underground Railroad. That's where I
Yes.
first saw him.
Yeah,
And
He's
he's
a nice-
outstanding in everything I've seen him.
and he's going to be in the Green Lantern TV series.
Which I'm excited about because it's Damon Lindelof, and that's gonna be
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
That's cool.
So yeah,
That's really, really cool. So yeah, Aaron Pierre is great. It's
Okay.
Don Johnson
Yeah,
in
he's
the
the
other
bad
lead.
guy.
And then the other one that is connected to this is a movie called The Order.
oh, I enjoyed The Order. I
Dude.
watched it recently. Yeah,
Yeah, I also watched it
It's
recently.
the Jude Law film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is Jude Law. So this is a
Surprised
Justin
me.
Kurzel film,
yeah, he's great.
who unfortunately is probably best known for Assassin's Creed, which is terrible.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, maybe
everything
so.
else he's made is like really freaking good.
yeah, Macbeth.
Like, yeah, Nitram.
How have
Nitram was
you-
fucking amazing.
How have you
Jeepers.
justified that those two could be
Okay,
stuck in
I'll
together?
get to that. So The Order is a movie. It's based on a true story about. So Jude Law plays an FBI agent investigating a series of bank robberies that they believe are connected to a white supremacist order, a white supremacist organization. So it's kind of connected in the way that a period piece about a group that are like these extremist white supremacists, horrible people, and then a movie set in the modern day
Okay.
is about there's also a bunch of like they don't label them as white supremacists, but they're
racist.
the racist organization now is the cops, which is really interesting in terms of like
Okay, so
Yeah.
it,
how
ma-
we've gone from one to the other.
Yeah,
it makes
exactly.
quite a nice double bill.
Yes, but
Okay.
The Order, and then so it's based on a true story about a group who splintered off from another group who called themselves the Aryan Nation.
Yeah.
And they decided that group were not extreme enough for them.
Shit.
So they started like robbing banks. Their whole thing was to literally start a war and secede a bunch of states to become white-only states
Yeah.
and like cut them off
That's
from
true,
America.
eh?
Yeah, true story.
Yeah. The Order never came to South Africa.
I think
No.
did it not?
I don't think so.
No.
Because I remember seeing the post on Stoke. There's been so many times where they've just taken shit down.
Yeah, I think that
Like-
happens.
I've never seen
occasionally.
it in the running to be here,
Okay.
so I don't know.
It's a good thriller.
Just
it's like
such
a
a
good
Hopefully
hit.
because there's no
well-made,
market
like-
for it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's just a really
It's like
well-made.
it's only
like-
being shown in Oranje.
No, and they're like, what is this nonsense?
Yeah.
Jude
No,
Law
it's
did a
great.
bunch of podcast interviews.
Yeah.
He's really good
in
in
the
it.
wake
great
of
in
the
this,
release of it. Yeah.
Nicholas Holt is like the leader of the
Oh, what a
white
year he's had
supremacist
as well.
group.
Jeepers.
He's doing fucking well.
Yeah,
hey?
he's
He's
had a great
really
year.
good in this.
Yeah.
That's also a little bit of a glow up, eh?
Yeah, I mean, he's
he's gone
been...
places.
Handsome man.
Yeah, About a Boy. Yo,
Yeah,
what a
he's
good
a-
movie. Flip.
But I
He's
mean,
gonna be-
he's handsome now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
Not just
referring
when
to
he
him
was a boy,
handsome in About a Boy. Wow. And Nicholas Holt. Yeah.
Now he's Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Please, it's pronounced Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
No.
sorry. It is an O.
In James Gunn's Superman.
Yeah,
That's
that looks
exciting.
fun, eh?
It
Yeah.
looks fucking great.
I need to plan a bunch of classic movie Sundays in the bioscope, and ahead of the release of James Gunn's Superman, which is
Yes.
in like July.
I think so.
Yeah.
June, July?
Sounds right.
July.
It must be.
There's summer, yeah.
We must do the original Superman.
That'll be
That'd
cool. I've
very
never
cool.
seen it.
Have you seen the Chris
Really?
Reeves documentary that just
Never
came out?
seen it. Yeah.
Superman.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
I hope
If you
people
like
love
the,
that.
Yeah,
dude.
if you like the Michael J. Fox Still documentary that he did last year, prepare to piss tears from your eyes. Like, no, it's a great documentary as well. But like, it's
is
such
that
a bummer.
available anywhere?
I
Superman.
think it might be on Showmax. So it's on HBO now. So that means it'll be on Showmax because I know Showmax has a deal with HBO.
Okay.
Great movie. Yeah.
Okay. We are sidetracking ourselves,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Shall we?
But this episode is long enough.
Yes.
Okay, P Dog, over to you.
Okay. I think I'm gonna do a TV show.
Okay.
Okay, it's not from this year, but I've only just started watching it this year, and it's in preparation for the movie coming in 2027. It is Bluey. I fucking love Bluey,
Dude.
so much
The
that
little kids TV show.
I got the Blu-ray set recently.
I saw you post about that.
Yeah, like it's just so good. Like, do you know what I love about it is
Can I just mention the fact that you don't have kids?
I don't kids. So what I love about Bluey though, right, is that it's a great. So I have nieces and nephews, right? I have one nephew, 3 nieces. But like what I love about Bluey is that it's a great show for kids and it's a great show for grown-ups. Because there's great little moments in there that only grown-ups will get.
Yes.
So like there's a scene in one of the episodes where I could be misinterpreting this, but I don't think I am, where Bandit, the Bluey's dad, so Bluey's Australian, right? It's
Yeah.
an Australian show. It's set in Brisbane. And Bluey and Bingo are 2 little girls. So Bandit is the dad, Chili's the mom. Bandit is talking to the neighbor who's a Labrador, and they're chatting, and he's totally talking about getting like a vasectomy, like getting, because he even says to him like, yeah, Chili wants to do it, but like Chili wants, we're thinking of doing it because we don't want another one of these things running around. And I was just like, holy crap. But like, it's such a sweet, wholesome show where like it would be GUI approved 100%. It's so cute. It's so sweet. It's so wholesome. There's great like tearful moments where I was watching and like in the space of 10 seconds, I'm like, oh, they did that. Like it's fantastic.
Interesting.
Show. I'm so excited for
I
the
think
movie.
it's worth mentioning the fact that obviously so much kids stuff is made all the time, everywhere.
Yeah.
That
It's
it's
the most
very rare.
annoying one, yeah.
It's very rare when one makes it above the rest.
I mean,
and sort of enters the zeitgeist. And Bluey definitely did
Yeah.
that. Famously having a color spectrum for dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is such an interesting extra little level of of detail. But you say that there's a movie.
Yeah, the movie is coming in 2027. I haven't
That's
finished
a
this.
while away.
Yeah, but that
You would
shows
think
me
that they would be able to bang that out quicker.
But that shows me that they're working hard on actually making it right.
Or they've got
because-
like still series that they're animating.
no. So the show's done.
Oh, is it done?
It's finished at
okay.
3 seasons.
Oh,
Like the finale, like everyone bawled their eyes out.
I
It was
know.
like was
I'll
amazing.
watch that.
But I mean, each episode's only 5 minutes long. They
Oh,
are
shit.
great. Yeah, they're great little. I mean, what a good kids show should do is to teach the kids a lesson, but also the grown-ups a lesson.
Yeah.
And that's what each episode does. So, like, the show not only introduces cool, fun games to play with your kids or your nieces or your nephews or whatever, but it also shows you how to be a better, like, not just a parent, but like a figure for young people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just outstanding, beautifully animated. It's fun. It's just so good.
Okay.
I loved it.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, I've had like quite a few mornings where I have a few very close friends that have had little girls.
Yeah.
and I don't get a lot of time with them because they're all in different cities.
Yeah.
But when I'm with them, there's this like concentration of a couple days having breakfast there and watching Bluey with them.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
fucking adorable.
But,
It's like,
the one more thing about Bluey is that what I like about it is that it's also because all these you get animated shows like Adventure Time, even though it's on kids' channels, it's not really a kids' show. You know what I mean? It's like it has kid elements, but it's more grown-ups are more into Adventure Time. You know what I mean?
I don't even consider it a kid show.
With Bluey, I consider it a family show as opposed to just a kids show. And
Okay.
I think what it does is it's just also the most unannoying kids show ever because you go fucking Coco Melon and all that shit. Where it's
a lot
just
of it
like
can be quite
repetitive
nauseating.
songs and.
I'll never forget my sister telling me how she falls asleep with like this one theme song, which my niece and nephew are quite old now, but she was like, this is obviously 16 years ago.
Yeah, and it'll
She
never
was
leave
like,
her brain.
Buzz, buzz, buzz in the forest. And I could see like the pain in her eyes.
Awesome.
But yeah, let's move on. Kolsky?
I'm torn between my next pick. So I think what I'd like to do is I want to call out this year as being a really exceptional year for like really great movies that don't excel to the point of being like the 4.5 star, 5-star film. It's like you go to the cinema with a box of popcorn and the girlfriend or the family, and you're like, oh, let's watch this action movie, and it turns out to be a really excellent action movie. And I think it was a year for like a whole bunch of really good, solid 4-star pieces of entertainment.
Cool.
And I want to call out 5. Okay. I want to call
You're
out.
cheating. You guys are cheating.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to talk about all of them in detail.
I'm gonna say. I think I know what you're gonna say. Okay, go.
I'm going to say The Fall Guy,
Yeah, that was a good one.
Twisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Conclave, Wicked, Alien Romulus.
Okay.
Conclave.
I think
Absolutely.
Conclave lives higher than those.
Yeah, Conclave.
They're
is-
all like in my little solid.
Okay.
But yeah, Conclave, I didn't want to put
Wicked
on the
is
same
great.
level as like Furiosa. And
I get
know.
you. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Wicked's a great
Yeah.
one as well. Those are good
Wicked
picks.
was a blast.
Those
Which
are
one?
reliable
Wicked.
picks.
Yeah, dude.
It's so much
It's
fun.
so much fun.
I
It's
like-
ugly as hell,
No, dude, it's badly shot. Eh?
but it's so like I'm so fucking invested. Like I'm in.
No,
Yeah.
dude, I remember watching that
characters.
final little like legendary, and then you could just feel everyone in the cinema like like tearing up. It was just like it's emotively fantastic.
Yeah.
It just like makes you feel all the things you have to feel, and it feels cool to have like a film that everyone's stoked on.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
everyone's talking about.
Especially that it's a musical because everyone's
Yeah.
always like, "Oh, fucking musicals."
No, it's
and then
terrible,
they're like,
dude.
"Oh, but I like Wicked." You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Also-
Kira, so Kira saw she's a huge fan of the Broadway play. She was weeping in the first minute. Her hat on the floor. She was like, ah! I'm like, grow up. Like, but
it's a
good-
movie that doesn't like shy away from being a musical. A lot of
yeah.
modern musicals feel like
Yeah.
almost embarrassed about the fact that they're musicals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas this is like, no, this is a fucking musical.
Exactly.
I think it's just because we all just literally know it is a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know it to be that play.
Yes.
You know, where something like Wonka was like, and
Yeah.
we're singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. Like Mean Girls, like I'm the only reason why I knew it was a musical is because I read about it being a musical, and I knew it was going to be an adaptation of the musical.
It makes sense to make a musical of something, like there is a Beetlejuice musical. But we
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
need to now make the Beetlejuice musical movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
So, like, in some regards, it's a but much. Like, Color Purple,
Yeah.
did it need to be the Color Purple
Yeah, I
musical movie?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, why the fuck not? I mean, go for it.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
because
But-
you
but-
can doesn't mean you
but-
shouldn't.
Sure. But yeah, no, Wicked was special, man. And it was a great moment. Like, we all got into it, which was cool.
My problem with Twisters, just to address this,
Yeah.
we're going to go through some of these.
Yeah.
I watched Twister just before watching Twisters, and the thing about the first one is it treats its tornadoes with the same sort of reverence that Jurassic Park treats its dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Twisters is a real Jurassic World of a movie.
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't care about its tornadoes.
Yeah.
They're
a
just
great
there.
reference.
Like
Yes.
I remember like thinking about it the first time they show you a tornado in Twister. There's like this shot where the camera like pans up and like lifts up and there's this music, there's like a choir in the music and it holds on it for like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I've got that in my mind. This is the way they're treating these
Yes.
things. And I was like, how are they going to treat the tornadoes in Twisters?
Yeah.
And the first time you see one, it cuts to it for like 2 seconds and instantly cuts away.
Right.
And I was like,
Yeah,
They
it's
don't actually
'cause-
care about them.
Yeah,
You know.
it's like not like a very exciting visual effects thing for them anymore. Like
Yeah.
we're kind of just like, oh, we can make this in visual effects these days. Whereas when they
Yeah.
did it in Twister, it's kind of like the Brontosaurus, whatever it's called, in Jurassic Park. You know, it's like we're going to look at it for like
Yes.
10 whole minutes because it's the
Yeah.
first time we've ever done this.
Yeah.
There were too many.
I loved it because of
Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell's character.
Yeah,
Glenn Powell's
he's-
so
I was
hot.
like-
He's got it.
I was like, that is, he's gorgeous, but his character is so
It's a
brilliantly
real.
defined and shameless.
I feel terrible. In last year, 2 years ago, when he was first blowing up, I was like, oh, he's just the Wish version of Ryan Gosling. I take it back. They're both perfect, and I love Glenn Powell so much. He's sweet,
great.
he's charming,
Yeah.
he's fun, he's so good, and
Yeah.
he's hot as hell.
Exactly,
I
dude.
love him.
There's a mention now, quick. This isn't one of my picks, but Hitman was great.
I fucking
Dude.
loved Hitman.
Hitman was such a great movie.
It was so much fun.
I loved Hitman.
That's over on Netflix.
That was
Richard
also very
Linklater.
promptly added to my bisexual crisis list. Because you sit there watching that movie like,
Yeah, they're both so hot. In
yeah,
that
I know,
movie.
it's ridiculous.
Oh, what's the crisis?
So bisexual crisis is basically when you're figuring out that you're bisexual,
Yeah.
and it's like it's not great because it's rooted in the idea that you have to be one thing.
Yeah.
But you're like looking at the woman, you're
But
looking
isn't
at the
the-
man, you're
isn't
looking
the-
at the woman, you're looking at the man.
But isn't the joy of declaring yourself bisexual allowing
No,
you to be
totally.
both? Yeah.
But this is very much like a niche cultural like thing where people will just say watching The Road to El Dorado as a 12-year-old was like hell
Yeah.
for like a child. So
Yeah,
you kind
like,
of just carry
yeah.
that experience into like Pirates of the Caribbean and Pride and Prejudice,
Yeah,
into
it's
all the adult
it's
films.
so funny. I told Kira, because I watched it with Russ for the first time at the cinema, and I told Kira that I'm blanking on her name right now.
Oh, but she's so hot.
She's gorgeous, and I was like, oh
And
my
she's
god.
just such a good actress.
And she's so fun, and she's great in Blink Twice as well.
Yes.
And like I was like, oh my god, she's like amazing. She's the most gorgeous creature besides you, of course, darling. And then and then Kira was like, really? And then she watched. She's like, okay, I get it, definitely,
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
No,
Yeah.
and their chemistry was so good.
Oh yeah, they're outstanding. Like,
All right, but let's backtrack.
Her name is Adria Arjona.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, she's great.
On that note, I'd like to give my pick,
Go for it.
which is Blink Twice.
Yes.
So that is the directorial debut of Zoe Kravitz,
Yes.
who you could argue is probably one of the cooler people in the world
she's damn cool.
on planet Earth.
I mean, her parents
fucking
are
right.
Your-
fucking
your-
cool.
Yeah, your old man is Lenny Kravitz. But it took me by complete surprise
Yeah,
in a
same.
good way.
Yeah.
I get to see what's being released. I get to see what's coming. I get to see the dates. I have to pick, as a cinema owner, whether or not I think it's a Bioscope movie. I often have to tell the distributor that I want it at the Bioscope. They have to secure a particular kind of hard drive for me, which there's only so many that are often in the country.
Yeah.
I start putting the tickets online. I go for it. But Blink Twice was a small enough film that unfortunately wasn't getting too much attention that I didn't really see coming. I didn't really know what it was about. I didn't know.
Yeah.
It was too small of a microphone for me to kind of pick it up. So I didn't choose it. We went to the screening. I think I was with you, Perrin. It was just you
yeah.
and me.
Yeah, it was you and me.
And I was like, fuck, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is so good. And it's such a Bioscope movie.
Yeah.
And that I quickly was like, oh my God, I fucked up. And I had to sort of scramble to sort of get this, one of the last copies. And I think I ended up taking it a week or two later. But it did really well at the Bioscope. What it is it's, and I think we've said this before, and I don't think it actually discredits it, but in the way in which a movie like Get Out is a psychological drama, a psychological thriller, it was able to make a comment about racism in America. Blink Twice is this psychological thriller where you don't know what's going on and it's fucking cool and there's all this shit happening, but it was able to make this great comment about what it's like to be a woman
Yeah.
in the world today.
It's the get out of the Me Too movement.
Exactly,
Sure,
and that's the way I think you said it,
Mm.
sort of quite quickly after the screening, and I was like, "This is great." our main character is a woman who gets sort of courted by a charming Channing Tatum, who's a sort of tech bro billionaire.
Yeah.
They go off to his private island and they have this crazy sort of wild time where they're drinking, partying, but things slowly start unraveling and they realize that I don't want to give too much away, but the effective idea is that they're being drugged, they're not really knowing what's going on. It then becomes this incredible film of like a fun sort of revenge moment, which also was just so participatory.
Yeah.
Where we were all like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, go get him, you know. It was fun. It was cool. I just fucking loved it. Blink twice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you know what I love about that movie as well is that Zoe Kravitz does such a good job in, like, I was so impressed with her eye in that, like her directorial eye in it.
Yeah.
Where like she knows when showing too much is enough. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a movie that could have very easily have slipped into exploitative territory. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
And she shows like, okay, the bad thing, but then she stops. Like she moves, she implies it more. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
think she's a very smart filmmaker, and I hope she doesn't get I hope a follow-up doesn't fall in line with Olivia Wilde's
Oh, Don't Worry, Darling.
Nice.
Don't Worry, Darling, where her
That wasn't
Booksmart
great.
was fantastic, and then Don't Worry, Darling was an absolute mess. You know?
Okay, sure.
But yeah, I'm just impressed because she wrote and directed Blink Twice.
Ooh,
It was incredible.
same kind of like hopefulness for Anna Kendrick.
Mm.
Even though that film, Woman of the Hour, I felt like it was almost
didn't have
not
enough.
there. Yeah, it didn't have
Yeah.
enough, but
yeah, it
she's-
missed pieces for me.
she is so fucking promising as
Yeah.
a director, dude.
100%.
Like her eye is so good.
Yeah.
The shots were amazing. The editing was great. I
Yeah.
was like, this is cool.
No, and it was a complex film to
Great final
to
scene
be
as
to
well.
be put together, because it was a lot of puzzle pieces, and you as the audience member were also going through a very similar thing to what the character was going through, which is like, what? Wait,
Yeah.
how come? And she also showed you these scenes that you didn't quite know what you were looking at, and you were like, but what is that? What are we doing here?
Okay.
And it's sort of in the same way in which she was having this like fucking, I don't know what's real, what's not real, what's a nightmare, what's happening,
Yeah.
what is a memory,
Yeah, it
Sure.
was well
you know,
edited,
this kind of
jeepers.
feeling of like, why do I all of a sudden have dirt under my nails?
Yeah.
Sure.
That you as the audience member were like also piecing those things together. So it was quite a complex thing to put together. And so I just loved it. I thought it was great.
Cool.
Such a great movie. Good pick, Russ.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right.
This might be the first year ever that was actually pretty good for video game adaptations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adaptations. So we had Secret Level was pretty good. There were some great episodes in there.
Oh, that's the-
Sonic 3
Just
was a blast.
so fucking funny.
I
It was
watched
really
it, yeah.
funny. Arcane Season 2 was good, but it's got a bunch of problems. My favorite one of the year was Fallout.
Oh, good call.
Fallout was
I need to
so
carry on.
much fun, dude. So this is an Amazon show
Yeah.
based on the video game of the same name. And the thing about, I'm not like a huge fan of the video games. I've hardly played any of them. So I was like, okay, whatever, Fallout adaptation from Amazon. And I don't think Amazon's really ever knocked my socks off. And then it comes along and it's super well made and it's really entertaining and it's really funny. Like it's got a really dark sense of humor, but it's just so much fun. And Ella Purnell's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
also
great.
in Arcane, but she's great in that. Everything about it just freaking comes together, I think.
Also, I love a good nuke shot
Oh yeah.
in a
Oh,
movie.
yeah, that opening,
Just like waiting
yeah.
for the nuke shot and how
Yes.
good it's going to look,
Yeah.
which is a terrible thing
Is that
to
the
think.
one where
I'm just like, fuck's sake, cool.
The one with Walter Goggins.
Yes.
As he's
Riding
like riding
away
away
on a
on a
horse.
horse,
Yeah,
right?
it's really cool,
And they
yeah.
just like 1, 2,
Yeah.
and you're like, fuck
Yes.
this, dude.
Yeah,
I know,
that
it was
was cool.
great.
Yeah. it
That
was
scene
really
was, you know it's coming in the flashbacks.
good. Exactly, yeah.
So you're just like waiting, and the dread is really effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to
think
carry
it's-
on with it, man.
It's a really, really good
Pick.
show.
Okay. All right. I am going to go with. All right. Do you know the composer Ryuichi Sakamoto, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
No.
okay, so he did the score for Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
It's like the
The
best
Last Emperor.
piano song ever written.
Yeah, The Last Emperor. He won an Oscar with David Byrne on that one. iconic electronic musician. He's one of the most influential of his field.
His name one more time?
Ryuichi Sakamoto.
Okay.
So, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. He starred opposite David Bowie in that.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay.
so he died of cancer last year, right?
Is this the documentary of
Opus,
him?
yeah.
It's called Opus. Yeah.
Technically, I wouldn't say it's a documentary. I would regard it more as a concert movie.
Yes.
But it's an
I saw
unconventional concert movie where it's black and white. It's him alone in a room playing the piano.
What?
And it is gorgeous. It is there. It's also heartbreaking because it's legitimately his final performance before he died.
Whoa.
And the thing is, like, there are so many great little moments where the concert takes a pause because his chemo is like he's like struggling, or he's like
Sure.
I can't play as well as I used to. So there's lots of false starts because he's trying to, like, he's so tired, or he can't keep up, or and it's just so, like, I was actually crying by the end of it because I realized that I had just watched this man say goodbye to the world. And it's one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen. It's on the Criterion Channel if you have it. I've got the Blu-ray now. It is just stunning. He's got, if you heard his pieces, Russ, you would know it immediately. It's some of the most iconic pieces. Incredible.
Yeah, this was on Cinefix's list of the best of 2024.
I actually saw it in the cinema.
I only
Yeah.
know it as a result of that.
So it was at, there was a festival at the beginning of the year. I saw Evil Does Not Exist as well at the same festival. But I saw that in the cinema. It's the best cinema experience I had last year.
This played in
Unbelievable.
cinemas here?
Yeah.
Was it the Joburg Festival?
Yeah.
Oh,
Literally,
why did we not fucking get that film?
there were two people in the cinema with me, and people had popcorn. They stopped eating their popcorn because it was like,
Shit.
it was a moment. I had popcorn and I was like, I
Yeah,
can't.
we didn't get that when the Joburg Film Festival came around. We didn't get that particular film.
No, okay. Yeah.
They
incredible,
curated
keepers.
such incredible films, and arguably too many.
Yeah.
They didn't spend enough time marketing the festival.
Yeah. It
But
popped up out of nowhere.
This film was made by his son.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it really shows you the voice of the filmmaker and how
Beautiful. Wow.
and how the director can
I
really
think-
show care.
Cole, as a muso, you would fucking froth at it. You would love it. It's
Okay, so
just
it's called
I
Opus.
can't imagine, dude.
Yeah,
I've always loved frothing.
it's just so understated, and it's so simplistic, and it doesn't have talking heads. It's just
It like
not the
boils
band.
down to its like essence. Basically.
Yeah, it's so stunning. It's like I was blown away by it.
It's
Like,
also a very Japanese thing. You know,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
two kinds of Japan. There's the crazy Harajuku, like
Yeah.
fucking chugga, 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 chugga. I promise you, I've been to Japan 7 times. I can tell you, it's loud, it's overwhelming,
Yeah.
it's way too much.
That's like where they have
But there's-
Godzilla's roar going off
Yeah.
every hour in Tokyo
yeah,
or something.
Yeah,
in
it's-
neon. Yeah.
It's in Shinjuku. There's a
Godzilla head.
there's a head of Godzilla that yells. But there's another type of Japan, which is almost the Scandinavian minimalist Japan.
Yeah,
which
Ozu
is
movies. That's the
blank,
ones.
you know, clothing, very simple, very efficient.
Mm.
It's a very efficient use of space, time,
Yeah,
energy, and this seems to embody that, which is great.
That's
All right.
cool.
Kolsky,
I am going to call out Dune 2.
yes, my man.
sure.
My man.
That means I don't have to edit.
Absolutely, because I think it's we haven't thought about it for a while because
Yeah.
it
Yeah, it came
hasn't-
out so early.
Yeah, it was so early in last year. And the more I think about how much it had to get right as a fan of the books, I am just blown away by the fact that it's like a major studio project,
Yeah.
that they're allowed to make the narrative calls that they can make,
Yeah.
and that it can still come out as like probably one of Denis Villeneuve's best sci-fis, which is like saying a lot. That
Yeah,
guy's
he's
done fucking
banger after
incredible
banger.
work.
He hasn't made one bad movie.
No, dude. And I think the important thing that it did very, very well, and unfortunately some people's media literacy online was so fucking terrible. Reading about this movie online was
Yeah.
painful. But it makes Paul such a good anti-hero. You know, you don't like him
100%.
at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
And everyone's like in the celebrity culture obsessed with Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
You know, so they kind of have a hard time watching him be this character. That's the discourse I'm talking about,
Yeah.
which is terrible.
Yeah.
But just epic and huge and massive, and those shots on the Harkonnen planet that were shot
Oh.
Yeah.
in like the
Yeah,
reverse.
in infrared. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
like
sick.
fuck,
Yeah.
dude, it's
That's
just artistic and massive and bold. And I think I need to watch it again because I'm pretty sure it
Same.
might be my best. It's
Okay.
like it might overtake everything because I'm
Shit.
just like, it's so good. It's
Yeah.
so fucking good.
Yeah,
I think it-
go for it.
Sorry, I think it actually communicates what you're saying about Paul better than the book does.
Right.
The book, because the book sort of like holds back on it.
Yeah.
And he's like saving it for like the next books. And it's also very like briefly mentioned like how horrible Paul is basically going to become
Yes.
in the little like blurbs that begin each chapter that are like quotes from
Yes.
other books essentially.
Yes.
That's where you kind of get the most out of what Paul's going to
100%, yeah.
become.
Yeah, but not in the
Whereas
drama
this-
itself.
yeah, whereas,
You're
like-
kind of sitting there watching him go, oh, you're choosing this instead of Zendaya's character, Chani.
Yeah.
Or you know that you're going to start a blood war across the galaxy.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
he's just leaning into it, dude. And you're like, fuck's sake.
That's the thing though, like I think it's such it like you said, it does such a good job in developing that character where we see him as this like boy in the first movie and he becomes a man in the second movie. Like I felt that.
Absolutely.
and
right?
because
and how do you make Timothée Chalamet feel like this?
not a twink.
Yeah.
Hey, not a twink, but this like leader of.
Yeah, the Fremen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so that's one thing. So when they announced Chalamet initially as Paul, I was like, great casting. But then when I rewatched the fourth time, I was like, before Dune 2, I was like, he's a bit weak as Paul, actually. I don't
Right.
think he's like right for it, even though I love Chalamet. Watching Dune 2, I was like, it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Perfect casting. I think what's interesting, Villeneuve said that his Messiah is going to be the last one that he does.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about that is I know Frank Herbert wrote Messiah as a reaction to people thinking Dune was Paul was the good guy.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
he was like, no, this guy's a fucking bad dude. He's become like everything he said he didn't want to become. And then it's almost like Villeneuve is going to do that now as well. Because I remember when we watched Dune 2, I don't know if you remember, in the cinema, when like Paul, that final confrontation in that like throne room, he's clearly a bad guy now.
Yeah.
And like people in the audience are like, yeah, go Paul, fuck him up. And I'm like, but he's a bad dude. Like
Yeah,
you guys are
exactly.
misinterpreting him. Like sure, it's a fuck yeah moment, but he's a very complex character. And I think Villeneuve did that so well.
Yeah, it's like I think in terms of the world of like literature, he's quite a like
100%,
standalone, iconic archetype, right?
Space Jesus.
Yeah, and you have to get that right, dude.
Also, Denis finally had a hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
So nice.
Do you know what's crazy about Villeneuve that I absolutely love, at least from studios, is that he's one of the few directors. I put him with Nolan and even Tarantino and Scorsese and Spielberg. They are guys that studios will literally let them do anything they want now. Despite Villeneuve never having a hit,
Yeah.
they still let him do anything he wants.
Yeah.
Because he's a proper filmmaker. And he's like, I mean, Blade Runner, I think, is actually better than.
The original.
The original.
Yeah.
Oh.
I agree.
I love 2049 so
agree.
much. It wasn't a hit, but he was still given the fucking budget to do Dune.
Yeah.
Which is nuts to me,
Yeah.
you know? And yeah, I love Villeneuve so much. I mean, even his earlier stuff where it's not so big.
Yeah, Prisoners is tiny.
Prisoners
It's
is
a small
amazing.
little movie.
Polytechnique, you guys should watch. It's
Oh, I don't know that.
It's I think it was his third film, black and white film, 72 minutes. It's about a school, a varsity shooting that happened in Canada in the 80s.
Oh, shit.
And it's
Sure.
devastating. Like, Incendies is arguably his best underseen movie, one of the best
I don't even know
twists
that, yeah.
in movie history, a Canadian-French film. Like,
Oh, shit. This
because
is all the early stuff.
Yeah, all his earlier stuff is French-Canadian films. He's so fucking good.
Okay.
Oh, my turn.
Amazing.
Hey, sorry. Okay.
No, it's Russ.
No,
That's
no,
Russ.
it's
Oh,
my
it's
turn,
my.
bud.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm jumping.
I want to give a special mention
Yeah.
to the movie here.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I knew it. As soon as I saw that trailer, I was
Yeah.
like, it's a Russell movie.
Yeah, it is
Yes.
a Russell movie.
It's a Russell movie. And I'll tell you why. I don't think I quite articulated this a few episodes ago when we were talking about it. I personally am a real sucker for time.
Right.
And just this idea of time, I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
I think about place having significance. I often think about the idea of perhaps a street corner in Joburg meaning absolutely nothing to you now, but that could become the most important fucking location of your life if, you know, an accident happens there or something. I'm the kind of person who, a few weeks ago was having Christmas with my parents in the family living room, And I told my mom about Here, and I was like, this is a movie I think you'd really love.
Yeah.
And I'll explain it briefly for someone who doesn't know the movie. But we were sitting unwrapping presents with our now sort of 16 and sort of 14-year-old niece and nephew, my sister's kids. And I couldn't help think of how many times we've been in this exact room opening presents on Christmas.
Sure.
And that's the magic for me of Here. So the whole movie, I've had to explain this a few times to people, so I think I've refined the description to the parts that make the most sense. I have gone on to explain more, and I can see where I lose people. So the whole movie is all about one location, one patch of land throughout history. So they do play with the idea of fucking dinosaurs and colonization and Native Americans, and so there are all these stories, but the majority of the story is the story of Tom Hanks, who grew up in this house, who later then met his wife and raised a family in the same house. But you move through these portals, and they do it very well through these little squares that open up and sometimes become the main sort of frame that you're watching. But you basically watch this locked off shot. Yeah. And you would think that would not work. But for me, I really felt it worked. And I felt there was a very interesting moment where Perrin, I think you'd watched it. Yeah. You'd watched it at home because I think a torrent had existed at that point.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
I'll go with that reason.
No, but I'm saying you were able to watch it at home.
Yeah.
And I think I went with you, Graeme, and we watched it in cinema, and it just felt like such a cinema movie because you needed to see this frame and this art on a big screen, and it felt, being in a cinema theater environment, it felt like we were watching theater because we were only privy to this one angle. Yeah. And I just loved it. Yeah. I just thought there was just these great moments where they could tie in the stories. It was very heartfelt, and it was just a beautiful, simple, and lovely, well-executed movie.
I think the thing that I liked about it the most was, and that it kind of impressed me the most was, despite the fact that it's jumping back and forth in different time periods, sometimes within the same shot, which is really cool. It's really like narratively and thematically consistent.
Yes.
There's like a through line that goes through that like really effectively.
Yeah.
Like that's just good filmmaking, frankly.
No, it was. And I've been actually trying to get the original book that it was based off. Shout out to Exclusive Books Online for being completely fucking useless. No,
It's a terrible store.
They were atrocious.
It's a terrible web store.
And after 2 weeks, they were like, "Oh, we never procured it. Sorry, it'll be another 2 weeks." And then after that, it was like, "Hi, crickets." Eventually, my last email to them was like, "Okay, I'm giving up. No one's talking to me. I could have handled a wait, but you guys have just been so shit."
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm trying to get hold of this book. This is really considered a sort of an art book.
Yeah, it's an art book.
Which it's based off. So I'm excited to see that when it eventually arrives. I think I'm now giving a crack through Amazon. So let's see. But yeah, the movie Here with Tom Hanks, Robin Wright. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis. So this is the same kind of trifecta that worked for Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
And a bold swing. It was cool to see the de-aging happening. Yeah. And that being embraced in a particular way or sort of used as a particular tool, which we know Zemeckis is happy to kind of try. So I appreciated the bold swing, and for me, it paid off. And a word of warning, if you are watching it at home or doing it in somewhat of a sort of second screen way, it'll be shit for you. It won't work. You kind of have to watch it in the most kind of sort of epic single watch that you can with as much attention as you can give it. But unfortunately, it will get lost. I tried to screen it at the Bioscope. It got a bit lost. But anyway, I loved it.
Yeah, good.
Cool. I remember thinking, like, when it got to the end, I was like, Russell's going to love that. And then Russell turned to me and said, I fucking loved that. I was like, yeah.
Through a wall of tears.
Yeah. Because as I said, I do see things in that way. I do appreciate that. It was playing every heartstring of mine.
Yeah, it's Russ Gooey approved.
It's Gooey approved.
Yeah, Gooey approved.
I think we're now at the point where we're going to do our big ones, eh?
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
I think I know we could do this forever,
Right.
and I
We've
think
only been talking for an hour. I'm just saying. We could make a 2-hour episode if we wanted to, guys. We could throw in one more round in there.
Yeah, can we do one more round quick?
Let's
Fuck.
do it.
okay, a little
Just
more,
one quick, okay.
concerning. Okay,
We've done so many of my top ones already, and there's 2 that I know you guys are going to talk over, so I'll let you guys have those.
Okay, thank
that's
you.
very nice.
I know that you guys are going to mention these, so
Graeme knows me.
I'll go with my favorite big flop of the year was
Okay.
Furiosa.
Oh, fuck
Oh,
yes.
dude.
Yeah.
We all
Don't
love
mention that it was a
yeah.
flop, dude. That makes
so
me so
fucking
sad.
good. It makes me so sad as well.
Because then at the same time, The Beekeeper was in South Africa. And that was the number 1 film.
Fuck, guys, don't. That was my number 1 on this.
Over Furiosa. And you're just
Yeah.
like, fuck the world.
Well,
Dude, so good.
2024 raised a very particular debate. They
Yeah.
did it wrong and they were called out for it. But the debate was often great movies can be misunderstood at the time of their release. This was a argument that was trying to be launched at old Coppola with Megalopolis, which will
Fuck, that was
in
hilarious.
time
Yeah.
we'll
Awful.
see
Greatest
whether
moments
that
of the
ever
year.
becomes a classic. But a film like Furiosa, for all of us at least, was quite clearly like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then went on to not do that well commercially, but that wasn't because it wasn't a good movie.
Yes.
It's a little bit like Fall Guy for me. It had everything,
Okay.
but there was just something that just somehow missed it.
Yeah.
My argument with Fall Guy was that it was a little too soon after the strikes, where
Okay.
they weren't able to successfully have advertised a film
Wow.
like that as well as they
Sucks,
could have.
Right.
Furiosa, my feeling, if I can just start off
Yeah.
the chat about it, was that it's a bit fucked up.
It's weird.
It's a fucked up, weird movie.
All of
and-
George Miller's movies are weird, though.
And they were
Yeah.
never these
They are.
darlings that were well loved,
Yeah.
and they weren't ticking every box.
Yes.
And so he perhaps got given too much money.
Yeah.
I think too many people thought it was going to be successful because they looked back at Fury Road with kind of
baffles me.
rose-tinted
Fuck
yes.
glasses.
baffles me still, actually.
But you must remember that Fury Road was probably done on a very punk rock budget.
No, Fury Road was a flop as well.
Well,
No,
but I mean, it at least made money back.
I don't think it did.
Oh.
It cost like nearly $200 million and it made less than 400.
In my head,
Really?
in my head,
Thought it was
Fury
a hit,
Road was
'cause it won
done.
4 Oscars as well.
That's the thing. It
That's
was
the thing.
critically,
Critically,
it was
we think.
critically really well
It's a cult,
received.
Yeah.
it's
And
a cult classic now.
And the
Yeah.
people who watched it all freaking loved it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Mad Max is just not that franchise. Mad Max is like you said, it's a cult franchise.
Yeah. No,
know,
there is a point in
bummer,
Furiosa
Jesus.
where her arm is fucking gnawed off by another car right in front of you. That's not for everyone.
Yes.
That's not going to be like dinner party, like, oh my God, you really need to see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I won't make an episode of Bluey, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's like my one criticism of it is that it does that prequel thing where they feel the need to explain everything.
Yeah.
Like, how did
Okay.
Furiosa get her arm? Why does she shave her head? Why she put this stuff on?
Okay.
Like, you don't need to. It's like explaining how Han Solo got his name. No one cares. We don't need to know. It's that sort of prequel thing
Yes.
that, like, luckily the way they handle it in this is they never draw attention to it.
Yeah.
It's not like she puts on the robot arm and there's like a big music cue and we're all
Yeah.
supposed to go, woo!
Like silhouettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, fan service.
It just
yeah.
like happens.
Yeah.
You know, so they handle it with a little bit of
Oh, that's
decency.
like the start of Last Crusade where Indy gets his whip and the lion.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
they do that.
See, the thing
Oh,
with
shit.
Last Crusade gets away with it because it's the first like 10 minutes of the movie. If they
It's
made
not
it
a film.
these days, that would be the entire movie.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Great
Watch
call,
Furiosa. It's
Yes.
freaking awesome.
Chris Hemsworth, greatest work?
Yeah, 100
it's up
easy.
there, dude.
Yeah,
Like-
definitely.
It's his most entertaining performance.
Absolutely.
Just like, g'day.
So
What is he
funny.
Yeah. What is that great line?
Where he
There's
comes
one
out of the car,
fucking
he's
great-
like, yeah, he's like, g'day, or something. I can't remember what he says.
Well, she's like upside down in
Yeah.
the burning
Hello.
car.
I think
and
he
he
just
just
says
pops his
hello.
head down.
Yes.
Hello.
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 Cunts. Yeah.
Hello, cunts.
Okay.
No, it really is his best work. His nose in that as well.
Yes.
But I think it's more brutal than Fury Road.
Yeah, I think so.
Fucking brutal, dude. Jeepers.
Except for the end with the Mortan Joe.
Oh yeah.
It's like jaw gets ripped off.
Yes.
I was always just like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You watched it at IMAX as well, Fury Road, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, we would have.
Yeah.
I think it was Graeme. That was during our going to fucking.
We didn't see that in IMAX.
Didn't we?
No.
Oh.
fucking losers.
Did I tell you my Fury Road story?
No.
I watched it with this buddy of mine, Trev. It was such a mandate.
Fucking Trev.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it when at the time.
Right.
Met each other. How's man? Lekker. Cool. Went and watched it.
Oh yes, I remember.
Walked out of the movie. Cool, man. Cheers. Bye. And then on the way, and then once we both got home, I was like, "Did you drive like a fucking maniac on
Right.
the way home?" He's like, "You fucking know I did." Because all you do is just watch the dude's driving really fast.
2-hour car chase, so you want to do a car chase.
I binged Drive to Survive in COVID, and then I had to
right.
drive my
So
car
good.
for the first time. I was like,
I
I
could
was like
do this.
so aware
Yeah.
of the revving and the fucking gear changing.
What are the Nicholas Hoult boys called in that?
Wild Boys.
Wild Boys.
War boys.
The
War Boys. Yeah,
The
so
way
I'm thinking of Duran Duran. Wild Boys. Wild Boys.
Very, very eerily similar.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
the way that's like made its way into the popular consciousness. I
yeah.
witnessed this in my friend's bachelor's at Four Ways when he did a bungee jump.
Oh, right.
And at the top of the bungee jump, he goes, "Witness me!"
And he spray
jumps
paints
off.
his mouth.
He just like this is so great.
yeah.
You see, it lives on. Okay.
Yes.
All right. This one, I wish if I could watch one movie for the first time every time this year.
Like this year.
Yeah, from this
Okay,
year.
from this year.
Strange Darling.
Okay.
The less you know about it, I recommend all you need
Strange
to know.
Darling?
All you need to know is it's about a one-night stand that turns into a cat and mouse game between a killer and his potential victim.
Okay.
That's all you need to know.
Okay, cool.
It is told non-linear. It's told in 5 parts. So the movie starts at like part 3, and then it goes back to part 1, then it goes to part 5, and then it is outstanding.
Who's in it?
He was in Smile. He was the cop in Smile.
Kyle Gallner.
Yeah, he's fucking great.
Jennifer's Body, Smile, Scream.
Yeah, he's
But
fantastic.
sorry, how did you introduce the film? You're like, if I could watch one movie.
So if
For the
I
first
could,
time.
if
If you
I
could, like
could
erase it from your memory.
and rewatch it for
Yeah.
the first time, that's the
Okay.
movie I'd pick.
So it was the movie you enjoyed, like sort of
With no context.
With
like,
no
context,
context,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the reason why is because the twists in that movie are so fucking good and so unexpected. Thankfully, the trailer doesn't give away anything. They hide so much.
Okay.
But I recommend just going in blind. It's Giovanni Ribisi's DOP debut, his
Oh,
director of
what?
photography.
oh, interesting.
Outstanding photography.
For those of you that don't know, Giovanni Ribisi, the first movie I think of is Saving Private Ryan. Oh, he's the bad guy in
yeah.
Avatar.
He's
Yeah,
the fucking
yeah.
brother in Friends.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
he is. Yeah, he's the stepbrother
he's
of
the-
Phoebe.
He's
yeah.
Phoebe's brother who
Oh,
like takes
yes.
the who
He
has the
marries
kids.
an older
Yeah.
woman.
Wow, I
yeah,
hadn't
yeah.
thought of that. in
Yeah.
years.
And he was in Boiler Room with Vin Diesel back in
He's
the day.
incredible. But you often find, the path is to directing
Yeah,
or
Yeah,
to
it's
writing.
From acting.
Yeah.
and every Hollywood person
yeah.
is also a producer. Best believe everybody's got a
Yeah, yeah,
production
yeah.
company and they produce projects and stuff. But
Yeah.
very few go, I want to almost.
I want to shoot this
I want to.
instead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
not
interesting.
that it's a downscale. It's
Yeah.
It's just such a
It's
different
an
tangent.
evolution. Yeah, it's so fucking good. Everything in it is amazing.
Okay, so he's the
edits,
director of
the
photography.
the
super
the
interesting.
color grade in that is phenomenal. Like
And what's it called?
Strange Darling. It is one of the best horror thrillers I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
It is fucking
But
outstanding.
it's very rare to go into a movie knowing absolutely nothing.
yeah, that's like I said. All you need to
That's
do is
hardly ever
read,
happened in my whole life.
read the log line. That's all you need to know. And
I,
move on.
I remember, and so when Pan's Labyrinth came out,
Yeah.
so you can see what year that was. It was a long time ago. I remember us choosing it on a whim back when. This is what just shows you old entertainment was. You could just go to the movies and go, let's just go to the movies.
Yes.
And then you'll like pick
Yes.
what movie to watch. Like that fucking doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
No.
But we looked at a whole bunch and we were like, that looks interesting. And we just, and I remember it was one of the only times ever. And I actually had this conscious memory where I sat in the seat and as Pan's Labyrinth started, I was like, I know nothing.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
nothing about what I'm about to watch.
Guillermo.
How rare.
Yeah.
And then you end up having the most incredible time.
Yeah.
I then later thought about it and was like, I'd love to rewatch that. And then only on rewatching it did I go, I forgot that it was in another fucking language.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like in my head, my memory of it was English.
Yeah.
No, it's a
Amazing,
great movie.
yeah.
Jesus.
But anyways, okay.
Cool.
Strange
Kolsky.
Darlings. Okay,
Cool.
Cole.
I think for my second to last pick, I'm going to go with Romulus.
Oh wow. Okay.
Just because I think it's significant that it did what it did, where it made a series that's stylistically absolutely bonkers in terms of its consistency. It kind of pulled all these separate parts together into a movie that felt like its own film, stylistically. And I think that's what it got right the most for me. And I thought it just looked incredible, absolutely amazing. Love that director. And yeah, no notes.
Cool.
Fucking
I
alien
have
film.
one big note.
Yeah.
I hate this trend that we're in now of CGI dead actors' faces.
Yeah, I hate it.
Oh no, yeah, that was the one
Wow,
thing
I
that was
hate
wrong
it,
That
with
was
it.
yucky.
It's
yeah.
ghoulish.
Yeah,
I hate that so much, and it wasn't well done in this movie either.
it wasn't well
It was
done.
very poorly
Are
done.
you talking about the torso dude?
Yeah, Ian Holm,
So that was
Bilbo
Ian Holm.
Baggins.
And part of the reason that it didn't work is so it is a deep fake.
Yeah.
They
Because
did it
they
with
had an
deepfakes.
animatronic.
They deep faked an animatronic.
Terrible. They're
Which
just
is
being
so
lazy,
weird.
dude. They're just being
It's
fucking
so
lazy.
it's such
Is
a
he
weird
still
way to do
alive?
it. No.
No,
No.
he died.
Ian Holm's
That's
dead.
why it's also very controversial. It was like,
Well,
No,
they
but
did
also-
they did have approval from his family,
Yeah.
and they paid them for it and everything.
But
It was
That's
pretty
okay.
sad.
But that could have been an animatronic because he was an animatronic.
That
in
was my whole
Alien,
thing.
yeah, 100%.
I
yeah.
think I
He
would have
was
liked
a robot.
I would have felt better about him being in the film if it was this kind of like janky, broken animatronic.
Yeah, I would have as well, yeah.
But my real question is,
Yeah.
given how they deliberately tied this one back into Prometheus, why was it not David?
Yeah.
Why not make that? Why
The
not
only
make
good
that
thing
David?
about those
Oh, so that you didn't have to bring back Ian Holm.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Like,
that makes sense.
David like connects to that story more than
Exactly.
Ian Holm's character does.
yeah, timeline.
I
Ash
think
does.
David might have been discontinued. That would make more sense to me.
Right.
Like
That makes
after,
sense, yeah.
like they realized, oh, David's going to destroy the universe.
Yes.
You know,
We should
So-
probably kill him. Yeah.
like maybe like however that ship comes back.
Yes.
Well, when it does, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But yeah. Most other than that, I really enjoyed that film.
yeah.
That really
Kelly
like
Speeney,
yeah.
great.
Cast is
fucking
great.
brilliant, dude. So
That actor
good.
who played I don't know what his name is, but like the other
Oh,
android.
Yes, wasn't he? What
Black
show?
dude.
Dude,
Yeah, he was great.
He was
yeah.
incredible, dude.
Yeah.
He just looked panicked for 2 hours.
Yes.
Oh no! Then he went into cool
Right?
like robot mode. And he was like,
And I was kind of disappointed they like take that away from him at the end.
oh, the
Because he
only
seems so much like more
yeah. The only
happy.
thing that was the other thing that was not great about this was that the actor's name is Spike Fern, the cousin. So, oh, you what? No, no. And you're just like, what are you saying, dude? The whole
having
movie.
a laugh?
Yeah, you're having a laugh. Oh no, it's an
Blimey.
alien. I don't know.
Bruv.
His name's David Johnson is the other guy.
Okay.
But that's sort
That
of like
sounds like the fakest name ever made. Like, put David Johnson down, please. Yeah.
but I also feel like the group of characters, they needed a couple grubs in there.
Right.
They're all too like they're all too pretty teenage, like young people. They all look like they just came out of like a fragrance commercial. And it's like
Funky cool.
you need like the Yaphet Kotto and the Harry Dean Stanton.
Yes,
in there
absolutely.
To just
Yes.
like
Yeah.
bring that little bit of like
Kill the uglies.
because they're supposed to be
Kill
like
the
these like
uglies.
really down in their like bottom rung of society
Yes.
sort of people, but they all look like models.
One thing before we move on past this, the thing that was absolutely incredible about it, and it's the thing I hate about Aliens the most,
Oh yes,
is Ridley Scott's made famously that final act of Alien visually chaotic. It's what we
Yeah.
studied in university as dramatic atmosphere.
Right.
When there's lights and there's smoke and all these
Yeah.
colors going off because
Yes.
it's just her and the alien. So how do you make it dramatically interesting? And that's how he thought he could make it work finally
right.
in that final act.
yes.
And the other films haven't really motivated that well, like in terms of why are the lights going off? Oh, it's an emergency. It's kind of just
Yes.
like very lazy.
Yeah.
But I always go back to the moment where the spaceship that they're connecting to the Romulus station with gets detached and then swings because the chest burst is happening in
Yes.
the cockpit and
Yeah.
stuff. And the light from that ship is like moving across all the
Yes.
windows, and you're just like, visually, it is
Yeah.
gorgeous. And then if you watch the filmmaking, it's so fucking nuts to see them going, we need another light in here. We need a full. And the cinematographer's like just pulls out an LED and swips it like on the floor.
Yes.
It's like all the things that we were doing on film sets
Yeah.
ourselves,
Yeah.
and it's still so lo-fi, but
That's
it's
cool. I like
smart.
that, yeah.
It's so
Yes.
cool, dude. Watch the behind the scenes; it's awesome.
Yeah, that I got to say, just like from like a fancy visual effects point of view, the scene where the ship is like crashing into the ring of the planet,
Yes.
is so good.
It's amazing.
It is so impressive, dude. Like that is like some of the best visual effects of the entire year. It is an
Yeah,
incredible
100%,
sequence.
Yeah.
Do you think
so
it could
well
be
executed.
nominated?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
It
as
also like
well.
mixes a lot of like practical effects and like CGI into it a lot. I think so. Yeah, I think it
Okay.
could definitely get a VFX nomination.
100%.
Hopefully, they don't show the clip of Ian Holm's face when they're at the Academy Awards.
You know what I actually just learned today? Apparently, for the home release, they redid some of those effects.
Oh, serious?
Yes, they updated, they upgraded them. Obviously, they weren't 100% done
George
by the time.
Lucas did.
Yeah, they kind of George Lucas did it in a way. They catsed it. They did the same thing with cats. 'Cause
they removed
some of
the
the visual
buttholes.
effects weren't complete.
They removed the buttholes.
so did they end up removing them in the end?
No, there's a butthole cut.
Okay.
So
Apparently,
there's-
that's also not entirely true.
I want it to be true.
Wait, did they originally have the buttholes and then someone had to put them on? Or
No,
they-
I don't think they ever had buttholes.
Okay,
But,
so
yeah.
according to VFX artists that worked on the movie, because of the way they were textured, some of them looked like they had just the way the textures join and come together.
gross.
Some of them looked like there was something resembling a butthole there. So they had
Okay.
to go and clean up the textures
take
essentially
out the buttholes.
Yes, to remove
is that the story?
the unintentional buttholes.
So anyone who had buttholes on their bingo card,
yeah, there you go.
you got it.
You got it, baby.
My second last pick is the limited series over on Apple TV Plus called Presumed Innocent
Ooh.
with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, right.
Very good.
Nice.
Very good. It is Gyllenhaal is up there with DiCaprio as one of the better actors
I
that
agree.
get the characters that just fucking go down descend into chaos and
Does he
get pushed up against
Nightcrawler?
the wall,
Fucking
kind of
hell,
figuratively speaking.
Yeah.
Does he
He-
crazy shout in this?
Well, it's just this kind of
That's his thing.
I
slow
love him, though. He's
descent.
great.
He is a top kind of advocate. No, what does he do? He's a lawyer of sorts for the government, and one of his partners is found dead, and he's the prime suspect. He had an affair with her, so you've got his home life, which is his kids and his wife, who have to support him while he is suspect number one in a trial that has captured sort of the country's attention,
Right.
where all the details of his affair with this woman who's died are on display, and he's the last person with her. Like, he just is. You're expecting that he's the killer, and it's just got lovely little twists and turns right at the end.
Cool.
Just him, he acts his fucking pants off. I thought he
He's
was
so
great.
good. He's always good.
He was
I
so
think-
good in it.
The thing about Jake Gyllenhaal is he so easily could have gotten a Marvel or a DC role and coasted for 10 years.
Yeah.
Instead, he's just been doing weird, insane roles
Yeah,
where he's a crazy person.
Nightcrawler
Yeah,
should have been
Nightcrawler's
nominated.
wild.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Just
That's
these
one of the
intense
greatest
characters.
performances of the past 20 years. for
Yeah.
me. Nightcrawler,
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Yeah, so Presumed Innocent on Apple TV Plus. Totally good.
Awesome.
Should we now do our last ones?
Yeah, I think we need
Okay.
to.
Cool.
It's been going on for
Okie
years.
dokie.
All right, so this is our sort of what we could tout as our sort of number one pick.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so
G-Force.
since I know Russell and I are going to pick the same one,
Okay.
I'm going to go with my favorite video game of the year,
Cool.
which was Indiana Jones and the Great
Ah.
Circle.
Oh, nice.
Holy moly, dude. So here's the thing. I fucking love Indiana Jones. I love that franchise so much, especially those first three movies.
Oh my god.
And the fact that more recent films, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then big
Dial of Destiny.
sky time travel hole, Indiana Jones and the time travel hole in the sky.
And Archimedes.
Dial of Destiny?
Whatever.
Try to forget that movie.
While I don't hate those movies, they're disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to have that movie, Dial of Destiny, be the send off for Indiana Jones feels like it's it just doesn't feel right. Right. So then they come along with this video game, which is set in between Raiders and Last Crusade, and it captures the tone and the vibe and the feel and the sound of Indiana Jones, of those original films, so perfectly. It feels like you could take this plot and these characters, and it would be a great Indiana Jones movie.
Cool. Maybe,
That's fucking
hopefully.
cool.
And what it's done is gone okay, so Harrison Ford can't do these anymore.
Yeah.
He's reached the point where it's ticked over. He's too old to be Indiana Jones. But now, in video game form, Indiana Jones can keep going.
Yeah,
And these guys have proved that they can make stuff that is at least tonally and stylistically and everything on par with the other movies, with the ones we consider the classic films. So it's the thing that I'm excited about is Indiana Jones has a future again.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Troy Baker was so good.
I love
Oh,
Troy
he's
Baker.
amazing.
So
yeah.
good in this.
He's good at every.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't, because early on, like the first stuff that they released, I like wasn't convinced. It almost felt like they deliberately picked clips where he sounded the least like Harrison Ford.
Right.
So I was like, and I was like, Machine Games have previously done the Wolfenstein games. How is that going to translate into
Yeah,
Indiana
Indiana
Jones?
Jones.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. It's a completely different kind of game.
Cool.
Like I mentioned this when we spoke about it on the show. There's one point in the game where you have to use guns. Other than that, I never fired a shot.
That's
Not once.
really
cool.
Yeah, you never have to do it.
The
You
punches.
you punch Nazis and fascists.
Hell yeah. Fuck you.
Mussolini's
Fuck you,
in the
Nazis.
game.
Yeah, I love how these days people talk about Indiana Jones and the experience of watching it as, fuck yeah, I get to watch Harrison Ford beat up fascists.
Yes,
Yeah.
This is
because-
great, but now you get to do it in the game.
Exactly, because Indiana Jones, I've said before, is a menace.
Right.
He's an absolute menace. The number one solution that he comes up with to every problem is to throw a punch.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's delightful.
I remember I missed them when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I never watched them then. I felt at one point, I think at varsity, I was like, I need to watch these movies, and I thought it was hilarious how he had the ability to punch someone out of a car.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not how punching works,
Yeah.
but somehow that it worked in the
He can
80s.
do
You
it.
could punch someone out of a car.
Unpopular opinion, I prefer Indiana Jones to Star Wars.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is hectic. I've never heard that
that's
comparison made before.
So,
That's a-
yeah, but just because
that's a
it's
big dick
Lucas
comment
films.
in this
Yeah.
room.
Yeah, just flop it out on the table and you fucking nerds. But what did you think about the first person aspect? Did that throw you off
I
initially?
think
Does it work?
Yeah.
Because I was like,
Interesting.
why not make it third person? Because I want to see Indiana Jones.
That's
Yes.
the thing. Like
But you get to be him.
you don't really need that. Like it works in terms of they've obviously designed the game to be played in first person.
Okay, cool.
You know, you don't need to be reminded what Indiana
So it
Jones
doesn't feel
looks
like a
like all the
gimmick.
time.
Yeah, that's cool.
It works like in terms of like the way the puzzle solving works and the way the combat works. Again, it's all just punches.
Yeah, because normally first person games are only shooters. So it's cool. It's interesting
exactly.
that you mentioned that you never ever fired a gun, like very rarely. Also, let's just give a nice. Sorry. let's acknowledge how fucking gorgeous Harrison Ford was
Jeez, dude.
in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Sure,
He is
no,
one of
it
the
is.
most- He actually, I'm watching that
unreal.
every time I watch that movie, I sweat because I'm like, holy crap, he's looking at me. You know?
He's so
No,
gorgeous
he's
in that.
so
sees
hot
me.
in that. Jeez, like, but the reason why I mentioned him as well because he was the first presumed innocent adaptation was Harrison Ford.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the
Yes.
90s, early 90s.
I thought that sounded familiar.
Yeah, I think it was Michelle Pfeiffer in it.
Okay.
I can't remember,
shit.
but I saw it ages ago. It was one of the first DVDs we got at our house.
Is it not just a coincidence that it's the same name?
No, it's the same. I think it's the same adaptation.
Oh shit!
Because what you were describing was everything that I remember it to be. So, yeah.
Okay.
But I think the Jake Gyllenhaal one is apparently way miles better than that.
There's a certain kind of work, and so there's a certain kind of book that would just make a better limited series
Yeah, 100. I
than a
think
movie.
the cool thing is they're starting to realize that now as well because
If it's
there's so
if it's a
much-
particularly complex twist and turn thriller book,
yeah,
it is much better as a
limited
limited
series.
series.
I agree. Cool. But yeah, so Dial
Okay.
of Destiny, it's all platforms, right?
No, right now
It's
it's
just
PC
PC,
and
okay.
Xbox.
Not Dial
really?
of Destiny.
It's
Dial of
called.
Destiny.
The Great Circle.
Yeah, Great Circle.
So
yeah.
right now, because it's Microsoft owns Bethesda, so it's
When is it set? It's set between
Raiders and Lost Crusade.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because Temple of Doom is a prequel. Temple of Doom.
Oh,
takes
yes,
place,
yeah.
Temple of Doom takes
Forgot
place
about
before
that, yeah.
Raiders. But then what that gives us is there is like a 19-year gap between Last Crusade and Crystal Skull, and then there's like a 15-year gap between Crystal Skull and Time Travel Hall. So
Yes.
Yeah.
there is so much space in there to
Yeah.
like tell new stories and make like games and stuff. It's so cool.
That's very fucking cool.
I'm really excited.
Cool. So my number one, I mean, shame there's other films that might dethrone it, but the movie that I kept on thinking about all year, next to another one, there's two. Sorry, it's called Dune, Don't Expect Too Much from the End of the World. It's a Romanian film by a filmmaker named Radu Jude. I think he is the it's enfant terrible. Hey, the saying, yeah. So I think he's that of cinema. I think so. The whole movie is about a PA, a production assistant. It's kind of like three movies in one. So she's a production assistant. It's in black and white. She is going around town getting these people together to do pre-interviews for a corporate video, right? So this corporate video.
No part of that has the makings of like my number one movie
Yeah,
of
plots.
the year.
I'm just like,
Okay,
It's
so,
like a Romanian making of a corporate video.
so she's
me.
making a video where the corporate video is about work safety, right? So they are interviewing people who have been maimed at their job, and they are talking about their experience and how they could have avoided that and stuff.
Okay.
Then the second part of the movie is there's a movie within the movie where it cuts to an actual film from the 1980s about a woman driving around as a taxi driver around Bucharest, right? That relates to our protagonist's story, right? Then the third part is them actually shooting the corporate video. It's a single 40-minute shot of it just sitting there, right? Now,
Jesus, this sounds fucking arty.
so Radu Jude, what I love about Radu Jude, so Romania, in my opinion, is one of the strongest film nations in the world right now. They have some of the most punk rock filmmakers right now. And with Radu Jude, he is the most punk fucking rock filmmaker right now. He merges so many different mediums and styles. And also throughout this film, the lead actress, she uses her actual social media character where it's her impression of a Andrew Tate type Romanian man.
Right.
And she's disgusting and crass and awful in it. And what Radu Jude does well as well, his previous film was called Bad Luck Banging or Looney Porn. That's the name of the film. And then his film before that is I Do Not Care If We Go Down in History as Barbarians. And what his films always does is that he always talks about Romania's past and its present. And he correlates the two. And he does it so well in like basically skewering how fucked up his country is in the past for being anti-Semitic, for being racist towards gypsies, to being historically very anti-female, very, you know. And then with these films, it's just such a fucking like battle cry to almost be like, fuck you, Romania. Why aren't we doing things better? You know what I mean?
Right.
And with this movie, it's he also does class very well. He talks about class extremely well. But every film he does, he always does little tidbits of history. His films are always a fucking mishmash of everything happening at once. There'll be montage moments where you'll be like a little history lesson on this road. Or like, and that's why it's interesting where we have the lead character driving around Bucharest, modern day Bucharest, and then not Bucharest, Bucharest, that's Romania. Modern day Bucharest, and then we cut to the 1981, and it talks about how the history of the dictatorship during that time, what they did then versus what they feel now. And it's just such a dense, messy shit show of a film, but it's so fucking smart and it's so funny.
Messy shit
Oh
show.
my god, it's so funny, it's so good. And there's that final scene where it's 40 minutes of them just shooting this advert, this corporate video. And the funniest thing about it is that they've got the guy who has been maimed by this work accident, he's in a wheelchair and all of them are standing around, but the whole scene is the director saying, no, fuck, I don't like this shot. Like, no, we got to get rid of that fucking truck in the back there. And they move the truck and they're like, no, I actually think let's show his right side. And like the whole time these people, like they're putting shade on the director and stuff, but like these people are like cooking in the sun and they're like just sitting there. And it's like such a great scene because it shows also how these people are pretending to like tell their story, but they actually don't give a fuck about them. Right. You know what I mean? And it's just, oh my God, it's such a great film. You check out Radu Jude's work.
What is this one called again?
Don't expect too much from the end of the world.
Don't expect too
And
much from the
it's on Mubi in the UK and America. I think it's on here as well. But one of his best films was called I Do Not Care If We Go Down in History as Barbarians. That movie is about a Romanian like acting troupe. They decide to reenact one of Romania's bloodiest moments where they executed like 100,000 Jews like in the town square. And
so
it's fucking crazy.
You feel like you get a good sense of Romania through his...
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not just him that is doing good work. There's another filmmaker, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he did 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, which is an abortion drama.
They love a good long title in Romania.
Yeah, but he did another film called RMN, which was about Hungarian. In Romania, there's a large Hungarian community as well, but it's about this little town that there's a scandal where the immigrants are now working at these Sri Lankan immigrants are working at a bread factory, and the town is fucking furious about it. So it becomes a film about xenophobia and racism and deep set racism. And it's these Romanian filmmakers right now are fucking incredible.
That's interesting.
Like,
it's interesting that
it's
you
the Romanian
shine
new
a,
wave. Yeah.
shine a light on it. So
But,
Romania is Bucharest, Hungary is Budapest.
Budapest, yeah.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
Radu Jude, one of my favorite filmmakers right now. He's fucking amazing.
Or as Keanu Reeves would say, Budapest.
When did that come out?
In Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Coppola movie.
Oh,
Still his
Victorian accent.
terrible.
I still need to watch that. I haven't seen
It's
it.
so good. It's so good. It's the nerdiest film ever made.
Yeah.
It's like a film nerd's love letter to
Yeah.
movies.
It's Coppola's last
He like
decent
tries
whack.
every single like in camera practical effect he can in that movie. It's insane.
Yeah, and then he made Mega fucking Cocculus.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's the best review I saw. This movie sucks, mega cockulus.
Okay, go
All
for
right,
it.
Cole's last pick.
My last pick for 2024 is a film I watched on the plane. I said this like when I first reviewed it that I thought it might have been the experience of going to the UK and living on that high and like being 2 glasses of wine down on the plane. I don't know. But then I watched this movie and I felt like I'd had the like first like truly, I don't know, spiritual experience I'd had watching a movie in the longest time.
Yeah,
Like
I
where I was just
agree.
like, movies make me feel things that I can't feel
Yeah.
in other places. And this was, I saw the TV Glow.
Yep. Yeah.
And it was just so visceral where I felt like I was high, but I wasn't high.
Yeah.
You know, where I felt like I was watching something that was just synthesizing color and picture and sound and music in ways that I'd never seen it done before. But like getting into it, basically the plot is that, for those who don't know, the story of 2 teenagers, like 2 black sheep pretty much in the world, that find each other and find companionship through a television show, like this 90s Buffy
Cheesy,
queer offshoot. What's it called?
It's called
The Pink Opaque.
The
The
Pink
Pink
Opaque.
Opaque,
Yeah, with the
thank
little
you.
ghost logo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, which I really want to see made for some reason. It looked so appealing, the way they describe it, the way they describe how much they love it. And the film basically becomes extremely metaphorical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
big allegory
as
of
a queer movie, what you always have is the call to action of being queer, accepting yourself.
I agree.
And that's always like incredibly positive, right? It's like the journey towards self-fulfillment. In this film, that call's denied, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Which
yeah.
is like, it's insane to watch the movie. And I wasn't even watching it from the queer lens. It's just, it's obvious that that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's not subtle about that at all.
it's not subtle
the
about it.
The opening shot is the trans flag colors.
Yes,
Like, all over the
absolutely.
tent.
It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
What is the metaphor?
So I don't want to give it away. It's like,
okay,
it's
okay,
the
no, no.
Matrix for trans people.
Okay.
Yeah,
I saw a
100%.
letterbox review that said it's Donnie Darko for they them.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And
So fucking good.
I was watching it in terms of being someone who, like, at one point in your life, you lived this authentic identity in terms of doing the things that you loved. You were shameless. You, like, weren't jaded by life's experiences and heartbreak into this, like, adult. And it's the schism of those two things, and knowing that you could have been someone else if you hadn't dropped certain things, if you weren't hurt in certain ways.
Yeah, I agree.
And like feeling that, like profoundly, it was just a film that made me think and reflect and feel in ways. And the final show was just like, oh my God, I was just like heartbroken. I felt sorry for anyone watching me watch it in the plane. I was like, sorry guys, I'm watching this messy movie.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I don't know if in the future I'll watch it again and have a different reaction to it and might not be as romanticized by it. But in terms of having a unique experience I've never had
That's cool. It caught
watching
you at
a
the right
movie.
time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I rewatched it, and it's still as effective and absolutely devastating. I mean, I mentioned that the films that I couldn't get out of my head this year was Red Rooms and was I Saw the TV Glow. Like, I saw the TV glow. So I wasn't a fan of Jane Schoenbrun's first film.
Going to the World's Fair.
I thought it was boring and dull, but I get what they were doing
Right.
with that. It was very effective in what it was trying to portray, which is loneliness amongst teenagers and just in general, right? This, I feel I just, it blew me away. Like, I've never seen loneliness and identity portrayed so accurately. And I mean, look, I'm a heterosexual white male, so like I was obviously watching it from the straight lens, you know what I
Right.
mean? But I still found it so easy to relate to everything they were going through. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I mean, it helps that I also, I'm going to sound like such a douchebag. I'm an ally. It helps that I've like got lots of queer friends, or,
Right.
you know, I've encountered trans people in my life, or, you know, non-binary people. And like, it's just such a powerful film because it's made by a trans non-binary filmmaker. And I just, it's one of those films where I do think if you watched it again, you would still be like, holy fucking shit. Like, you watch it on the plane, like, I mean, that's great, but like sitting down properly without like any of the fuss around
Yeah,
you
exactly.
is just going to be otherworldly. It is one of the, it's probably going to, that's the one film that I think is going to be battling for my top one till the end of the till
Yeah,
the release
season.
of it.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. Great pick.
Thank you.
Had to do split.
I think I felt like I need to watch it again. Like
Right.
that's the feeling I was left with at the end of the film was I need to watch it again, because for me the kind of pieces of it all click together right at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
Right at the very end. Like you said, those final moments, those
Yes.
final few shots are like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like they will knock your freaking head off. And I felt
Yeah.
like I need to see the whole movie again with that context.
Yes.
And that's like, I think it's going to go like at least another star in my view when I watch it again, because I like get it.
Yes,
that-
you understand
that,
it, yeah.
That breathing, wheezing. in
Yes.
it. Oh
Sure,
my
dude.
fucking God. Like, I think, yeah, like that ending is devastating, but what
Yeah.
I still like about the film is there's still a glimmer of hope in it.
Yes.
Just a tiny glimmer. It's not all like, oh my God, it's doom and gloom. And that's what I think is why that film is so important, is it's because it's important for representation in terms of stories and just being fucking seen. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what the ending I felt like. Was it like, okay, that's what it must feel like.
Yes.
And I don't think I've ever seen a film that shows what it must fucking feel like. So
Yeah.
yeah, good pick.
It was
Great pick.
heartbreaking.
I haven't seen it, and so I'm representing everyone who hasn't seen it. It sounds very interesting hearing you guys talk
Yeah,
about it,
it's
because it feels very
fascinating.
cryptic.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to give too much
Yeah,
plot.
It's a very
Yes.
visceral movie. It's it's very strange.
Also,
It's not
the little-
available anywhere, hey?
I don't
At this point,
I think it's on Apple TV. Actually, it is.
Oh, it
Surrender,
is. Yeah, you're
right.
right. It's on
Yeah.
Apple TV.
But it's available on Blu-ray online at the A24 store, which I have.
But like the little glimpses of that 90s TV show that we get to
Yes.
see,
Yeah.
they like nail that aesthetic.
Yeah,
Dude,
Like
it's
a
crazy.
low budget 90s like sci-fi
yeah,
fantasy
the
show.
Buffy.
Yeah,
It looks exactly like those shows all
yeah.
look.
Yeah.
It's
looks
so
great.
well done.
my last pick was something I also watched on the plane,
All right.
and we have a theory here at the video store, which is that your emotions are heightened when you are however many thousand feet in the air,
Yes.
and that you are chemically imbalanced to be more emotional.
Here we go. Here we go.
So I really got the gooeyes
Yes, see.
watching Sing Sing.
Yes, I knew you'd pick that.
Yeah. So
Incredible film.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
yeah, set in the correctional facility, the prison Sing Sing, and it follows the story of a bunch of inmates who are part of a theater program. What I love the most about this movie is that it is not the traditional telling, which many films like this would have been, which is the start
Yeah.
of the theater program and them putting on their first play. The movie actually starts with a play, and it is about the next year's play as they carry on. Our main character is Coleman Domingo, who I think should get an Oscar. Well, he should certainly be in the running. He's incredible. He's an inmate who's been there for a while. He is a writer, and he's come to terms with his sort of fate, but is trying his best to continue to get an appeal because he is innocent.
Yeah.
But we get introduced to a new inmate who joins the troop that year, who is the kind of complete opposite of him. And there are these incredible arcs as they devise this play, which has got sort of a silly collection of everything that they wanted.
Yeah.
But it really does the most incredible job of having you just get a sense of what it could be like to be stuck in prison. And what it means to be human, what it means to be free, hope, spirit, humanity. There is this incredible authenticity to the movie, which is that it's obviously based on a program where they had a lot of those actors participate in the movie.
Yeah.
And they just bring the most incredible authenticity to the watching of it. And it's just quite something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it also the sheer power of what art does in terms of rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Like how important that is to people to just heal and move on or grow up and move on. You know what I mean?
And what it
It's
means
so
to
great.
play and what it means to create and what it means to just have fun with the idea of art and expression and acting. And if, you often wonder what the point is, what's the point of art? What's the point of acting? What's the point of, and this is a movie that shows that. I did a little bit of acting in my time. I went into Wits School of the Arts to be in the film program.
Yeah.
But we were forced, and I'm actually grateful that we were, to do 2 years of performance, which was acting, voice, and movement. Movement being the flopsy body dancing. Voice, which was us lying on the floor, breathing through breathing through our diaphragms. But even with performance, you quickly get the sense that you have to very much understand yourself. You have to be open and vulnerable to then inhabit another character.
Yeah.
And so for these guys to successfully do this in prison, they had to be vulnerable. And to be vulnerable in prison is, not a good idea.
Yeah.
So those things are at odds against each other. But you sort of never appreciate the sense of freedom until you've seen this movie and what it means to be free.
I think it does a good job of like skirting the cliches of prison movies. Like there's so many things we expect to see in movies about inmates.
Yeah.
And we get like almost none of the things you expect to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a film that doesn't call attention to itself in a way. Like usually so often in films you'll kind of have the scene that like culminates a character arc.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where in this, the other main lead, not Coleman Domingo, his name's Clarence Macklin.
Yes.
Who's again, he's a real inmate, or he was at least.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But you don't get the scene where, by the end of the film, he is a completely different person.
Yes,
like
that's
he's
what I'm saying,
changed. Like
the character arc.
rehabilitation. Yeah.
and there's no scene where you go, oh, that's where like this culminates.
Yeah,
but it
like
happens
like a montage, like a cheesy montage.
Yeah, or like a big speech or something like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like you at the end you don't go, oh wait, why is he like this guy doesn't feel like the same person? It just happens so organically over the course of the film.
Yeah.
Where it's like you watch him become a different person.
Yeah, it's great writing.
It's
It's
a
like
show don't
performance.
tell thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yes.
you kind of see the consequence of it without it being made to be the scene where it happens,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
And I think, for me at least, I don't know if it's right, it's in the Hamlet soliloquy that he performs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I was just like bawling my eyes out, where I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
this has never made me cry before. I've heard the speech a million times before.
Exactly.
But in the context of that movie, you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a Gooey's movie,
Exactly.
100%.
But that's where good writing and good performance come into play. Direction as well. I mean, Dune Part 2 with Paul, even though there are key moments where you can pinpoint this is where it happens,
Yes.
it still doesn't feel like there's a big like, oh, there's this bad guy moment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because he's touching on the idea of like, oh, maybe I should be doing this, but I don't want to do this, and then eventually it just fucking happens. So like with
Yes.
Sing Sing, like that final scene,
Yeah.
like it's just such a good fucking
But
movie.
this draws attention to why it is so difficult to make a movie.
Yeah.
It's you've got those puzzle pieces have to come together very carefully.
Yeah, I think
And that's why it is often called the the sort of edit. It's made in the edit
Mm.
because you have to balance that puzzle piece.
Yeah, I agree.
And you sometimes it's not as clear as that.
Yeah.
You come out of it going, I just don't have that sense.
Yeah.
And then if you just tweak or give certain scenes a bit more time, then you're like, okay, I get it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you can't pinpoint exactly which moment,
Yeah.
but it has to have this overarching feel.
Yeah.
But
It's a daunting task. It
Yeah.
really is. Like, this is why films fail.
no, it's true.
It's,
And
there is some alchemy doesn't work.
And I think that's what feels good about Sing Sing as well. Like you said, is there's where you guys would like where they would play and stuff like that. Like the whole film feels like that, where they're just playing,
Yeah.
and it never feels forced. It never feels on the nose. It never feels like they are telling you how to feel. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because the performances just express how to feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're expressing how they feel, so now you react to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everything feels very off the cuff.
100%. Yeah. It's a great movie. Coleman Domingo is always fucking phenomenal, and
Jeez, like,
I would go to the ends of the earth for that, man. It's wonderful. Yeah.
even like little things like that same guy, Clarence Macklin, when they're looking at costumes for like the
Yes,
character he's going to
yeah.
play, and he's like, no, I'm not wearing that. I'll never wear that. And he looks at
Yeah.
something else and he's like, yeah, cool, I'll wear that. But if you notice at the end of the film, he's wearing the one that he said he would never wear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's
It's
like,
a good detail.
because it was like the right one for the character that he's playing.
Yeah,
And he's like come
exactly.
to accept that part of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Right?
All right, guys.
Yeah.
That was lovely. And what a nice way to catch up.
Right?
Hey, I missed you guys.
Yeah, I missed you.
If we've missed out on something, please let us know. We'd love
Yeah.
to hear your favorite.
Give us some recommendations.
But yeah, it was a great year. And as we said, 2025 is looking good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be here behind the counter pretty much every week.
Yeah.
As we go. So yeah, thank you for all the love and support. Thank you for listening thus far. And thank you for joining us for another one of our most rented episodes. We love doing these. And we will continue to do these kind of deeper dive specials like this. It's worth mentioning at this point, we touched on Dune, we touched on Alien, both of which have got their own special, more deep dive episode.
Oh, yes.
I think this year we also said we'd always have a Star Wars episode.
We're doing
in
a
us.
Star Wars
We're
episode.
doing
This
it.
year.
Special.
So those kinds of things will present themselves, and we'll be there, and we'll also have the occasional guest popping in every now and again. So, yeah, good start to the year. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Thanks
Cool.
for a lovely day at work. And thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you again soon. Our home base is thevideostore.co.za, but as we said, let us know if there's movies of last year that we've missed. All right. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.